deadly mobile game. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 151. Let's wait and see. 6 hours later, no signs of corpse transformation. No eggs in the body. No adult worms in the body. All physiological indicators are normal. Meet the quarantine standards. Allowed to enter the base. After the inspection of the medical cabin was completed, it was confirmed that there were no abnormal parasites in Jin Ke's body. The security personnel then asked the magicians Yao Chengzu and Liu Junming, who had been guarding the medical cabin, to arrange for people to help Jin Ke out of the medical cabin and carry him into the base to temporarily place him in Liu Junming's dormitory. I have something to leave first. You must take good care of him. You must take care of him in person and don't let people with bad intentions approach him. If someone wants to do something to him or wants to take him away, let them come to me first. When he wakes up, call me. After placing Jin Ke, Yao Chengzu whispered a few words to Liu Junming. Okay. Liu Junming nodded to Yao Chengzu repeatedly. Not long after Yao Chengzu left, 2 security guards really came to the door of Liu Junming's room. They were the security team leader Li Liang and a burly security guard named Luo Ye. Is he awake? Li Liang knocked on the door and asked Liu Junming. No. Liu Junming blocked the door and did not unlock the safety chain, preventing the 2 from entering the room. Just now, Director Luo told us to take him to the security room for protection. After he wakes up, Director Luo has something to ask him. Li Liang stated his purpose. He had received this task a long time ago, but Yao Chengzu had been with Liu Junming before and did not dare to come. Seeing Yao Chengzu leave, he hurried over. No, Master Yao said that he will be back soon. This student is very important to him. He asked me to keep an eye on him and not let anyone take him away. If it is Director Luo's order, you should ask Director Luo to coordinate with Master Yao first. Liu Junming refused Li Liang. You know Director Luo's temper. Don't make it difficult for me. Li Liang knew that if he could not handle this matter well and had to ask Director Luo for instructions and coordination, he would inevitably be scolded. Master Yao's temper is not very good. If you don't want to turn into an ice lump, it would be better to convey my original words to Director Luo. Liu Junming threatened Li Liang a few times. Liu Junming, you are a smart man. Do you know what will happen if you offend Director Luo? Li Liang lowered his voice and threatened Liu Junming a few times. I know, but I work diligently. Don't make mistakes, and don't leave the base. What can he do to me? Liu Junming retorted to Li Liang. Okay, let's wait and see. Li Liang couldn't intimidate Liu Junming, so he had to leave in a huff. The character in Jin Ke's game lay motionless in Liu Junming's dormitory, as if he had lost his soul. Doc, are you okay? Liu Junming tried Jin Ke's breathing and pulse and found that everything was normal, but he didn't know why Jin Ke was still unconscious. The damage to his soul must be very serious. The medical cabin can repair his body, but it can't repair his soul. Liu Junming sighed. The reason why Jin Ke didn't move was because there was a nurse from the medical department beside Liu Junming who had not left. Jin Ke didn't know that the nurse was Yao Chengzu's man, and was specially arranged to take care of him, so of course he had to be cautious. After a while, the nurse received a communication instruction to return to the medical department. He said hello to Liu Junming and left. After Jin Ke confirmed that the man had left and Liu Junming had closed the door, he controlled the character to sit up from the bed. Are you pretending to be dead? Liu Junming turned around and was startled. Is the door closed? Is it locked? Jin Ke asked Liu Junming. Liu Junming walked over to confirm that the door was locked, and then walked back to Jin Ke's bedside. Jin Ke had already controlled his character to sit down by the bed. Are you okay? Lie on the bed and rest for a while. Don't rush to get up. Liu Junming advised Jin Ke a few words. I'm fine. I was mainly worried that Luo Ye would find out that I was alive and would continue to look for someone to kill me, so I pretended to be unconscious just now. Jin Ke answered Liu Junming. He wouldn't dare. Luo Ye is not the only one who has the final say in the base. At least you are safe inside the base. Liu Junming shook his head. If anyone asks about you and me, Just tell them that my soul is seriously damaged. Jin told Liu Junming a few words, before the plan to kill Luo Ye and avoid future troubles is formulated. He needs to be patient for a while. I understand. I'll do as you say. Liu Junming nodded. Is my master okay? Jin asked Liu Junming. Fortunately, you are still alive. Now everyone in the base knows the power of your master's formation map. Before the formation map is handed over, no one will dare to harm him for the time being. By the way, I just have something to talk to you about your master. Liu Junming mentioned it to Jin Ke. What's the matter? About the statue. You had no idea about it beforehand, but you were almost killed. I know you must be angry with your master. Liu Junming looked a little guilty. What's the matter with the statue? Jin Ke pretended to be unclear. Don't blame your master for this. The responsibility is all on me. Liu Junming sighed. After all, he was the initiator of this matter, and he had to help Zhang Shidao explain some things. How do you say it? It starts with your multi-soul body. Liu Junming told Jin Ke in detail about how he discussed with Zhang Shidao about preparing the soul-splitting agent after he learned that Jin Ke had a multi-soul body. Of course, he didn't mention the part where he and Zhang Shidao secretly investigated Jin Ke. Master, did you do this for me? Jin Ke pretended to be very moved. As a player, even if he now knows that these NPCs are probably not really NPCs, he has not yet developed real feelings for them, but he will do his best to protect the NPCs that are good to him, which is also for his own safety. If you want to survive well, you must have a few trustworthy people in the entire base. Yes, he didn't want to do this at first, and he didn't dare to do it. I instigated him to do it. I also have my own selfish motives. After all, I have studied this soul-dividing potion for decades. Now I finally have the opportunity to make one. I want to see how effective it is. Your master has been pushed by me to do this. After the incident was exposed, Luo Ye questioned him in public at the previous mid-level and high-level meeting. He took all the responsibility on himself and didn't even mention my name. Your master is a real man. Liu Junming looked ashamed. Master has a strange temper, but he is very straightforward. Jin Ke nodded. What Luo Ye said about him confessing you is all lies. Don't believe those lies. Luo Ye is very insidious and does things by any means. Liu Junming continued. Chapter 152 Normal People's IQ. Although Liu Junming did not attend the judgment meeting yesterday afternoon, he had already inquired about the details of the meeting from Zhang Shidao and other participants. Of course, it would be better for him to explain to Jin clearly about Luo Ye's accusation against Zhang Shidao. I'm not that stupid. You are really a very good child. Your master is not wrong about you. Liu Junming looked relieved. You just said that there are raw materials for making soul-splitting agents in the adult insects of the alien insect source body? What do those raw materials look like? Jin thought of the insect cyst that he buried in the ground of dormitory area number 23. Once the soul-splitting agent is successfully made, Jin can have a second career. His plan is to change his second career to a mage. First of all, because his basic attributes have reached the requirements of changing to a mage, and they are all very high. Once he changes to a mage, the attack power of the corresponding spell will be relatively large. In addition, the probability of a mage having control skills is relatively high, which can just make up for the defect that assassins have few control skills. Finally, of course, the mage is a high damage and high output profession like the assassin, and the output is magic damage that ordinary armor cannot defend against. After having a second profession, Jin's self-protection ability in the game world will be greatly enhanced, and the confidence of killing Luo Ye will also increase a little. Yes, it is a kind of capsule in the head of the adult insect. I have not seen its true form, but I have learned relevant information. Of course, some other raw materials are needed, and I have basically collected them all over the years. Liu Junming answered Jin Ke. Master took such a big risk for me. Jin Ke pretended to be very moved again, but he did not mention the insect capsule to Liu Junming. Jin Ke knew Zhang Shidao very well. He knew that although Zhang Shidao had a strange temper, he was a person who valued feelings and kept his word. Liu Junming was different. He felt that this person was very smart and even a little cunning. Jin Ke suspected that Liu Junming had his own purpose in this matter. Even if he took out the insect cysts to make the soul-splitting agent, Jin Ke would only hand it over to Zhang Shidao, and then instruct Zhang Shidao to be careful of Liu Junming during the preparation process. How was the alien worm source killed in the number 23 dormitory area? I heard it was dissected, Liu Junming asked Jin Ke. I'm not very clear about the details. The situation was very chaotic at the time. It seems that the alien worm source went crazy and fought with the alien worm infected bodies, and was beaten to death by the alien worm source. I'm not very clear about the dissection. The situation was very chaotic at the time. Jin Ke told Liu Junming the same story he had told others. Alas! What a pity. Without the body of the alien worm, we can't get the insect cysts, and we can't make the soul-splitting potion. However, the alien worm in the dormitory should have swallowed the energy core and matured. The quality of the insect cysts in its body should not meet the requirements of the soul-splitting potion. In our original plan, we planned to slowly nourish it for 3 months before killing it and taking out the cysts. What a pity. Liu Junming shook his head with a disappointed expression. The insect cysts are so valuable. Why doesn't the base experimental department raise more alien worms to take the cysts and make potions? If we take them to the market, we should be able to exchange them for a lot of good things, right? Jin Ke looked a little puzzled. This alien insect source originally came from the experimental department that was still under the control of Luo Ye at the time. After the staff of the experimental department discovered the peculiarities of these alien insects, they specially got some new trainees from the black market to serve as experimental subjects, and let the alien insects live in their bodies for various experiments. What they didn't expect was that after these alien insects matured, their IQs became higher and higher, slowly approaching that of normal people, and they even possessed some of the host's memories. In March and April last year, they communicated privately, and suddenly rioted collectively during an experiment, destroying the experimental department at the time. The base was in chaos, and more than 1,000 employees were killed. That riot severely damaged the base. After the main brain carried out a major cleanup operation, Fan Wenji confiscated Luo Ye's control over the experimental department and strictly prohibited research on alien insects in the base laboratory. Liu Junming briefly told Jin Ke about it. You and my master secretly transported a corpse with insect eggs out of the base and hid it in the ruined temple that worshipped the half-insect man, right? Jin confirmed with Liu Junming. The statues in the ruined temple were all half-insect images. Hiding the corpse with insect eggs there was indeed not easy to be discovered. Moreover, the ruined temple had been abandoned and had no use value. People in the base would not go there normally. It was a coincidence. This matter had little to do with your master. I did it privately and told him later. Liu Junming didn't seem to want to talk much. He should have hidden some key information from Jin Ke. My master was sentenced to 20 years in prison and was imprisoned. Can I still see him in the future? Jin Ke asked Liu Junming about another matter, which was also very critical. He had broken through the first level of energy and could learn rune carving skills. If Zhang Shidao had been imprisoned, he would not be able to teach him rune carving skills. It's easy for you to see him. Your master is not really imprisoned. They transformed the equipment department into a prison. Your master just eats and lives in it now and is not allowed to go out. In fact, for an old otaku like him, his life is no different from before, and there are people to serve him when he eats, drinks, defecates and urinates. He is so happy. If you want to see him, I can take you there. Although there will be people checking in and out, those are not Luo Ye people. They are arranged by Director Fan to protect your master. Liu Junming answered Jin Ke. The base did not really put Zhang Shidao in prison. The sentence of 20 years was just to calm the public anger. What's more, Zhang Shidao now has the drawings of the miniaturized rune array to resist the darkness in the wild. In order to prevent Zhang Shidao from refusing to work because of anger, Fan Wenji made a lot of promises in private. At least for now, Zhang Shidao was satisfied. Moreover, his only apprentice, Jin Ke, who took the blame for him, was sentenced to death. But he did not die and was acquitted. Then, I want to go to the equipment department. I want to talk to my master alone about some things. Jin Ke thought about it and proposed to Liu Junming. At this time, he would feel more at ease with Zhang Shidao. I will take you there to prevent Luo Ye's gang from harassing you on the way. After you go there, You will meet your master alone. I will not go in. Liu Junming stood up. Then thank you for your trouble. No trouble. Chapter 153 Know yourself and know your enemy. Along the way, Jin Ke deliberately let Liu Junming support him, pretending to be very weak due to the damage to his soul. After Liu Junming sent Jin Ke to the equipment department, he said hello to Zhang Shidao and turned to leave. The master and apprentice reunited after the disaster, and they should have a lot to say. It would be inconvenient for him, an outsider, to be around. Doc, it's great that you are still alive. I'm sorry for you. Zhang Shidao showed shame on his face after seeing Jin Ke, and even wiped away tears, and it was not fake. I have heard the whole story from Uncle Liu. Master pulled the statue back to the base for me, and it was Master's rune array that allowed me to survive in the darkness in the wild. How can you say such a thing? Jin Ke replied to Zhang Shidao. Jin Ke could see that Zhang Shidao had true feelings for him. He didn't tell him the truth when he dragged the statue last time. He probably wanted to give him a surprise after the soul-splitting agent came out. Or Zhang Shidao didn't know whether the soul-splitting agent could be successfully made at that time, so he didn't want to let Jin Ke have too high expectations and be disappointed. Unexpectedly, Daobo, that bastard, smashed the equipment department, was parasitized by the alien insect source body, and slaughtered more than 100 newcomers in the number 23 dormitory area, causing such a big trouble. That damn Luo Ye, he actually slandered me and said that I gave you up as the mastermind. You must not believe his lies. Zhang Shidao explained a few more words to Jin Ke. He has been brooding over this incident since it happened. Although Liu Junming had helped to convey the message and explain it, he still explained it again. How can I believe what such a person said? This Luo Ye bullied my master and tried to kill me. Whether for my master or for myself, I will never reconcile with him. Jin Ke expressed his position to Zhang Shidao very clearly. Doc, that being said, you must keep a low profile in the base in the future, and try not to let Luo Tian remember you. That beast is very vigilant and vengeful, and has done many things to eradicate the roots in the past. This time he made an enemy of us, but he didn't kill us. He will definitely target us, the master and the apprentice, and may even kill us secretly. It's okay for the master, because he will be afraid of some interests, but it's different for a new student like you. He can kill you if he wants to, and there will be no consequences. Just like this time, he obviously wants to use the means of killing you to intimidate me and make me submit to him. Zhang Shidao told Jin Ke a few words. Will talking here be monitored? Jin Ke looked around. No. Now that the master has the blueprint to fight against the miniaturization of outdoor darkness, they all need me now, and they dare not play these tricks on me, and I have specially checked. The people on guard outside are all arranged by Supervisor Fan, and there are no Luo Tian people. Zhang Shidao answered Jin Ke. That's good. By the way, master, how strong is Luo Ye? Do you know? The more detailed the better. For example, what are his stats? How many skills he has, and what level he would be at in a one-on-one park with master? Jin Ke asked Zhang Shidao. A C-level assassin. What do you think? I accidentally got his approximate data a few months ago. It may not be accurate, so I'll just tell you casually. At that time, his strength was around 30 points, speed around 40 points, and agility above 50 points. He had at least a dozen awakened skills, and most of his skills were upgraded to LV20 or above. It seemed that 3 main skills had evolved, and one of them had evolved twice. He has an ordinary wide weapon with a single output damage peak of about 1050, and an average damage output of more than 800 per second. But I heard that his main weapon is a C-level purple dagger. In this case, his single output peak should have reached about 1500, and the average damage output per second can reach about 1200. You asked about the situation in the park between Master and him just now? Let me put it this way. If he wants to kill Master, he can kill him in one move, a super kill, and you can't dodge. This is the result no matter how many times the park is done. Zhang Shidao presented the data and explained it in detail to Jin Ke. Such a high output. Jin Ke frowned. He originally thought that his output was already very brutal, but he didn't expect it to be so far behind Luo Ye. Luo Ye is a martial arts genius. He is one of the best C-level assassins of the same level. In the entire base, Only Fan Wenji can suppress him. There are even rumors that Luo Ye should be able to deal with Fan Wenji now with his strength. I am not sure about the specific situation. Zhang Shidao shook his head. Fan Wenji is a warrior, right? Luo Ye is an assassin with very low health. Fan Wenji is a warrior. He can restrain him professionally, right? Jin confirmed with Zhang Shidao. Fan Wenji is indeed a warrior. He picked with Luo Ye several times when the base was first established. At that time, he suppressed Luo Ye very well. I'm not sure how the two are doing now, but what you said about Luo Ye's low health is not quite accurate. His 30 points of constitution means he has 300 basic health, and 30 points of endurance gives him almost 2.5 times the defense, which is equivalent to 750 basic health. In addition, Luo Ye arranged for someone to come to me last year to repair their equipment. It was a set of 2D level rings, purple equipment. Each ring can add a total of 14 points of constitution, and the accompanying skill is to summon an energy shield that lasts for 10 seconds and can absorb a total of 340 points of damage. If he wears the ring, his health will reach 440, 2.5 times the defense, equivalent to 1,100 basic health points, plus 340 points of shield and a full set of high-quality equipment. Although he is an assassin, he can be described as a blood cow. And that was the accessory he used to add blood last year. This year, he may have exchanged for a more advanced blood-adding accessory on the black market. Rumor has it that he has a full set of purple leather armor, which he rarely wears and has never taken to me for repair. If the accessories of that armor also have physical attributes, his health will be even higher. Zhang Shidao analyzed it. He has a lot of treasures. Jin pondered. Yes, there are a lot, but you can't make plans. Zhang Shidao shook his head. Does Luo Ye have control skills? Jin asked. Jin asked Zhang Shidao so much in detail because he wanted to know himself and the enemy, and see if he could have a chance to kill Luo Ye by force with his own strength. If he couldn't do it, he would have to think of other ways. Yes, at least two, but my information is not very accurate. It's all hearsay. Zhang Shidao answered Jin. This man is too strong. Jin sighed. With his current strength, it would be difficult to kill Luo Ye by force. Chapter 154 Rune Carving Skills. He is indeed very strong. He became famous very early and is now a member of the first-tier elite group of the base. He is the best assassin in the entire base, and his reputation is well deserved. Moreover, all the equipment on him is accumulated from the resources of the entire base. How can he not be strong? Zhang Shidao also sighed. He is so strong. Why doesn't he bring the elite group to the number 23 dormitory area to kill the alien insect source? Let us fend for ourselves in there. Jin changed the subject. The normal alien insect source is very powerful and extremely cunning. Even a strong man like Luo Ye may lose his life when fighting against the alien insect source. In the big cleanup operation last year, 3 strong men from the base elite group fell, and Luo Ye was also seriously injured. He should still remember it clearly. The alien insect source in dormitory area number 23 is still a newly hatched larva. It should have swallowed the energy core and grew into a deformed body. It is much worse than a normal alien insect source in both intelligence and other aspects. Otherwise, there is no possibility of survival for you. Luo Ye is not with you and doesn't understand the situation. Of course he is unwilling to go in and take the risk to save people. To them, the top leaders, you newcomers are of very low value and can be abandoned at any time. You are not worth them taking the risk personally. If they don't go, other people will not have the strength to save people. Zhang Shidao explained to Jin in detail. Zhang Shidao would not have said these words to Jin in the past, but the situation is different now. Jin has seen the indifference and ruthlessness of the senior and middle-level personnel in these bases, so he should tell him the truth. Master, you originally wanted to use the adult of this alien insect to make a soul-splitting agent. Do you want to use a capsule in the adult's head as a material? Jin turned to the main topic. In this situation, he wanted to narrow the gap in strength with Luo Ye as soon as possible. Splitting the soul and changing to a second profession might be the fastest way. Yes, after the adult is dissected, a corpse capsule will be dissected out of the head, which is the main ingredient for making a soul-splitting agent. Zhang Shidao nodded. There is also a worm cyst in the body of this deformed body. Can it be used to make a soul-splitting agent? The worm cyst of a deformed body? It is probably a defective material. It is hard to say whether it can be used. Anyway, according to your Uncle Yu, this thing needs to be raised for at least 3 months before the worm cyst can be extracted. The effect of the quick-made worm cyst will definitely not be good, or the success rate of making a soul-splitting agent will be very low. By the way, you said there is a worm cyst in the body of the deformed body? Have you seen it? Zhang Shidao looked at Jin Ke. Yes. I guess that someone would go to clean up the dormitory area number 23 afterwards, so I found a place to bury the worm cyst. After the dormitory area number 23 is reopened, I can find an opportunity to dig it out from inside. The only person Jin could tell about this matter was Zhang Shidao. Well, you can try, but don't hold out too much hope. Your Uncle Yu is not a very reliable person. Last time, when I confirmed with him whether one insect cyst could successfully produce a soul-dividing agent, he suddenly changed his words and said that the success rate of producing a soul-dividing agent with one insect cyst is relatively low, just like winning the lottery. If there are more insect cysts, the success rate will be much higher. He can only guarantee that a successful dose can be produced with more than 10 insect cysts. You see, even a mature insect cyst of an alien insect source has a very low chance of producing a soul-dividing agent, not to mention this kind of deformed insect cyst. Zhang Shidao didn't want Jin to be disappointed, so he said the bad results in advance. I don't hold out too much hope either. Anyway, I'll try it if I have a chance. Uncle Yu is a person with a heavy mind, and he is indeed not very reliable. Master, be more careful when dealing with him, and don't fall into his trap. Jin Ke also reminded Zhang Shidao a few words. I have been dealing with him for several years. Master knows what kind of person he is. You don't have to worry. Zhang Shidao nodded. Jin's concern for him like a family member made him feel very useful. Master, do you know how long it will take for them to reopen dormitory area 23? Jin now wants to get back not only the insect sacks, but also his corpse claws. Although he can't use the corpse claws now, he can consider selling them to exchange for some high-quality equipment that he can use now, and equip himself as soon as possible. Generally speaking, the experimental department will go in for about 2 or 3 days of collection work, and then the cleaning department will clean up, and it will be open soon. But if the dormitory area is severely damaged, the cleaning department will not go there, and the construction department's construction workers will go in directly to repair the building. At that time, the scene is relatively chaotic, and you can find an opportunity when no one sees to dig out the insect sacks. Zhang Shidao thought for a while and answered Jin Ke. Master, I have good news to tell you. Of course, Jin Ke did not forget the most important thing for him to find Zhang Shidao. What good news? After being trapped in the darkness, the energy in my body was running wildly under the drive of your rune array. When I woke up from the coma, I found that the 3 energy gates you told me were connected by themselves, and the correct energy veins were formed between the 3 energy gates. Can I learn the rune carving skills now? Jin Ke asked Zhang Shidao. As for whether all this was the credit of Zhang Shidao's rune array, Jin Ke didn't need to explain it in detail. Until now, Jin Ke himself didn't know how he survived last night. Judging from the records in the game log, the plugin in the ZMA mobile phone played an indispensable role. Really? I didn't expect it. This rune array has this effect. Well, it should be resisting dark energy, becoming the energy core itself, and the energy running wildly. If it works, maybe I can use this method to break through the bottleneck of the first energy level and officially step into the realm of the first energy level. In that case, I can at least live a few decades longer. Zhang Shidao muttered to himself with a crazy look in his eyes. Master, I feel that my survival is largely a matter of luck. If you want to try, it would be safer to encourage your enemies to try first. Jin persuaded Zhang Shidao. He was in a semi-comatose state most of the time last night, but he knew that he was able to survive, mostly because of the cheat, not Zhang Shidao's rune array. I'm just saying, energy cultivation requires talent. I may not have as good a talent as you, so I'd better not take risks with this old body. By the way, You just said you want to learn rune carving skills? Zhang Shidao laughed twice, then shook his head, obviously giving up the crazy idea just now. Yes, I can learn it now. Jin Ke nodded. The steps to learn rune carving skills are very cumbersome. I know that many people who want to become rune masters have already met the energy cultivation standards, but they are stuck in the learning stage and do not have enough perseverance to persist. Let me first tell you roughly the steps to learn rune carving skills, so that you can have an idea in mind. Chapter 155, Rules of the Universe. The first step is to get familiar with these runes. It is said that the number of runes is infinite, but we can only come into contact with tens of thousands of them in daily life, and only about 2,000 are commonly used. Each rune has a unique meaning. So, the first thing you need to do is to recognize and familiarize yourself with these runes, just like when you first learned to recognize words, and figure out the meaning of each rune. But I want to remind you that many runes look exactly the same, but in fact they have subtle differences. For example, a stroke with an extra hook or a missing hook is not a difference. The most difficult difference between different runes is that if a stroke is a little thicker or a little longer, the meanings are completely unrelated. This requires extremely keen observation and judgment, as well as a very strong memory. I won't go into details. I will give you a reprinted dictionary for beginners of runes. You will get the experience if you study it slowly according to the above. This kind of learning cannot be done by rote memorization alone. You also need to have some insights. It is said that the stronger the sensitivity, the faster you will learn runes. I haven't studied this specifically, I just heard it from hearsay. After you are familiar with the 2,000 commonly used runes, you can enter the second step. The second step is to run the energy in your body along a certain meridian to achieve a unified energy amplitude with the corresponding rune carving equipment. The energy running meridians of each rune carving equipment are not the same. Our original rune carving equipment should have been smashed by Xiaobo, the little bastard, at that time. I will tell you how to run the energy meridians based on the new equipment I bought. The third step is to learn and become familiar with the writing methods and arrangement methods of various runes. In the first step, you recognize those runes, but knowing the runes does not mean that you can write those runes. Writing runes requires writing with the energy in your body flowing through. Only in this way can the runes mobilize the energy between heaven and earth and exert the power that the runes should have. The last step is to use the energy in your body to use rune carving equipment or rune pens that have been charged in the equipment to carve appropriate runes onto weapons and equipment. If this step is successful, it can basically be determined that you have become a qualified rune master. Of course, you are only a junior rune master. Equipment with poor materials can only bear a limited number of runes. If you forcefully write powerful runes into it, the equipment will be blown up by the energy. I am just a low-level rune master, and I can only make and repair E-level equipment at most. If you follow me, you can only learn to make and repair E-level equipment at most. If you want to further your studies in the rune master profession, you have to worship some master or grandmaster rune masters again. Zhang Shidao ended his long speech. I don't think so much. I just want to learn to make and repair E-level equipment. Jin Ke didn't want Zhang Shidao to think he was too ambitious. Well, the path of rune master cultivation is extremely long and difficult, and you must have a good mentality. If you set your goals too high at the beginning, you will be very disappointed if you can't achieve them. And then you will lose your peace of mind, and this path will be even more difficult. Zhang Shidao was very satisfied with Jin Ke's pragmatic attitude. After figuring out what the rune carving skill was, the first step for Jin Ke was of course to take the rune book given by Zhang Shidao and memorize the runes one by one like a primary school student learning characters. This felt as boring as memorizing a dictionary. Fortunately, after Jin Ke memorized a few runes, the rune recitation plugin automatically started to help Jin Ke memorize the runes. The specific process is that the plugin controls Jin Ke's body to flip through the runes by itself, and after staying for a certain period of time, it changes to the next rune. The character seems to recognize and remember this rune. Memorizing runes mainly consumes brain power. In order to make full use of time, Jin Ke also awakened the plugin for repairing equipment and continued to help Zhang Shidao trim and weld the dilapidated equipment in the warehouse. This is also the basis for him to learn the rune carving skill from Zhang Shidao. Seeing Jin Ke memorizing runes while working, Zhang Shidao couldn't help but admire him. This disciple was really hard-working, and he also had a certain chance to become the first person to survive in the darkness in the wild. Maybe he will really achieve something in the field of rune master in the future, or even surpass his achievements. Master, each rune has a unique meaning, just like our Chinese characters. Does this mean that these runes are also a kind of language? Jin Ke had a plug-in to help him practice and work, and he chatted with Zhang Shidao casually. You guessed it right. I heard someone say that these runes belong to a certain language of the Energy Clan. It is the ancient language of the Energy Clan more than 10 billion years ago. Just like our ancient classical Chinese, it is almost the language used by the advanced Energy Clan to formulate the rules of the universe at the origin of the universe. Therefore, only this language can mobilize the energy between heaven and earth and exert various powers. Zhang Shidao answered Jin Ke. This explanation is more reliable. Jin Ke nodded. Whelan Home Community, 108 Villas, Luo's house. After waking up in the morning, Luo Ye sat at the head of the bed in a daze for a long time. She had another strange dream last night. Everything in the dream was very clear as if she had experienced it herself. In the darkness, on the second floor with the lights on, she saw Xue'er and Jin Ke. Jin Ke was dying, and she tried every means to save his life. For this reason, she also signed a contract with a group of black shadows, saying that she wanted to play a game called Horror City. According to the agreement of the contract, she must play the Horror City game for at least 2 hours every day, otherwise, her soul will collapse and die. It seems ridiculous. Although she thought it was ridiculous, Luo Ye still reached out to take the mobile phone on the bedside, turned on the screen and took a look. As a result, she found that there was an icon on her mobile phone screen that did not exist before. The icon of the Horror City game. At a certain moment, Luo Ye felt a sense of fear. Could last night's dream be true? Yi, are you up? Go downstairs to eat. Li Zhengsum's voice sounded outside the door. I haven't washed my face yet. You go down first. Luo Ye replied to Li Zhengsum, quickly put down his phone and put on his clothes. Today is Sunday, and he doesn't have to go to school. After breakfast, Luo Ye didn't go shopping with Li Zhengsum, but locked himself in the room. After changing back into pajamas and sitting back at the head of the bed, Luo Ye picked up the phone again and looked at the icon of Horror City on the phone screen. Why do things in dreams affect reality? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 156, Long story short, unless that was not a real dream. What is so unique about this mobile game? Why did the Black Shadow ask her to play the mobile game for at least 2 hours every day? And only if she agreed to this condition would the Black Shadow help her save Jin Ke. To know all this, perhaps the only way to find the answer is to enter the game. The game does not have a login screen, nor a character creation screen. Luo Ye clicked the icon and entered the game screen directly. Hello, Luo Ye. Welcome back. An electronic sound sounded. Base. Experimental Department. Supervisor Xue'er's office. The experimental department is finally back in the hands of Supervisor Luo, which is a cause for celebration. Security team leader Li Liang congratulated Luo. It is a great honor to be back under the command of Supervisor Luo. With Supervisor Luo's guidance, the experimental department will usher in rapid development again. Xue'er, the head of the experimental department, a fat woman in her 40s, also expressed her loyalty to Luo. Because of Zhang Shidao's incident, Luo Ye and Fan Wenji reached a compromise. Luo Ye agreed to commute Zhang Shidao's death sentence to imprisonment. At the same time, he sentenced Zhang Shidao's apprentice and accomplice Jin Ke, who dragged back the insect corpse, to death to serve as a warning to others and calm public anger. Fan Wenji gave up some of his authority and let Luo Ye take charge of the experimental department, which was currently under his personal charge. This was also what Luo Ye had been thinking about for the past year. Xue'er, the head of the experimental department, said that she returned to Luo Ye's command because before the big cleanup operation a year ago, Luo Ye was originally in charge of the experimental department, and it was only transferred out when something happened. This time, Luo Ye found an opportunity and finally got the experimental department back in his hands. What is the main direction of the laboratory at present? Luo Ye didn't waste any words and started working directly. Direction. To be honest, Director Fan is too cautious. Sometimes I can't figure out what he wants our experimental department to do. On weekdays, he always asks us to study how to increase the production of vegetables and meat. Now the production of vegetables and meat has long exceeded the supply, and continuing to study is simply a waste of time. There is no big plan at the moment. Today, we are mainly dealing with the samples collected from dormitory number 23. Xue'er complained while answering Luo Ye's question. What are the test results of the samples collected from dormitory number 23? Luo Ye asked casually after hearing Xue'er mention it. I was just about to report this to you. The alien worm source in dormitory number 23 is a deformed body with very poor strength. According to our test results, it is confirmed that it died under the claws of the alien worm-infected body. The IQ of this deformed body is much lower than that of a normal mature body. It is a bit strange that there is an internal conflict between it and the alien worm-infected body, but if it is a deformed body, it is possible in this regard. Xue'er answered Luo Ye. In Xue'er's opinion, even if the Zerg was a deformed body, the strength of these new students was far inferior to it, and even the individual combat power was not as good as those infected bodies. After inspecting the scene, she preconceived that the Zerg could not be killed by the new students, so she did not doubt the students' talk about the internal strife among the Zerg. Let's make it short for unimportant things. Luo Ye waved his hand to Xue'er. Okay, the problem we have found so far is that the insect sac of the Zerg is missing, and one of its claws has been swapped. The surviving newcomers are not honest. Some of them may have reached the level of LV4 or LV5 in the dissection skills, and they have hidden the materials belonging to the base. If the quality of the claw is above blue equipment, those students are considered to have hidden weapons. Xue'er answered Luo Ye. Leave this matter to me. Interrogate these newcomers separately, and use some tricks to force them to find out the whereabouts of the insect sac and claws. Li Liang volunteered to Luo Ye. No need to interrogate him. The insect sacs and claws of the deformed body are useless. If you really want to know who secretly hid the insect sacs and claws, I can tell you that it must be the student named Jin Ke who did it, and the insect sacs and claws he secretly hid should be buried somewhere under the ground in the number 23 dormitory area. Luo Ye waved his hand. Director Luo is very smart. I will send someone to capture Jin Ke and make sure he will reveal the location of the buried things in half an hour. Li Liang hurriedly complimented Luo Ye. Your brain. Sigh. I don't know what to say about you. There is no need to force such a thing. He knows the interests of the matter, and you can't force him to tell you no matter how hard you force him. Moreover, it is an extraordinary period now. If we touch Zheng Shidao's people, it will give Fan an excuse. Luo Ye stretched out his hand and slapped Li Liang on the head. Director Luo is right. Look at my brain. It is really not enough. Li Liang also stretched out his hand and slapped himself on the head a few times. But we can't just let him go. He is still useful to us. As long as we can find the definite evidence that this guy has hidden weapons, the security department can arrest and control him openly, and Fan Wenji can't say anything to us. Luo Ye pondered. Li Liang and Xue'er didn't speak for the time being, not daring to disturb Luo Ye's thoughts. How about this, Li Liang? I'll teach you how to set a trap. After the experimental department withdraws from the number 23 dormitory area, the construction department will come in to repair the damaged dormitory. You arrange your people to go in, and then put a sign outside the number 23 dormitory area to recruit laborers. If there are any students in this batch who apply for laborers, they are probably looking for an opportunity to retrieve the hidden things. When Jin takes action, you can catch him red-handed. Luo Ye said his plan. Luo Ye wanted to capture Jin Ke but not to kill him. He didn't take this new student seriously and didn't think Jin Ke had the strength to take revenge. Luo Ye had another purpose in letting Liu Liang set a trap to capture Jin Ke and control him. Boss Luo is still very good at tricks. I'm really far behind. Li Liang admired Luo Ye very much. No wonder he became the deputy director of the base and could replace Fan Wenji as the head of the base at any time. His brain was really different from that of ordinary people. You don't have to arrange people to the construction department. I have an acquaintance who works as a foreman there. Xue'er reminded Li Liang. Oh, by the way, how could I forget? Your husband Chuxin works in the construction department. Li Liang patted his head. Well, I'll talk to him later and ask him to take the initiative to talk to their supervisor and take over the maintenance work of dormitory area number 23. If you have anything to do, just tell him to do it. Xue'er was very happy to be able to help Luo Ye in this matter. Chapter 157 Main Ingredients for the Medicine. Okay, let's arrange it this way. By the way, Director Hu, you need to adjust the research of your experimental department. Fan Wenji's method will not work in troubled times. If we want to make the base stronger, we must adopt a more radical strategy. Luo Ye changed the subject. The matter of setting a trap to capture Jin Ke was just a small matter for him, and it was not worth discussing for too long. Director Luo, are you referring to the Dark Death Soldier plan? Xue'er lowered her voice. Yes. Those materials should still be there, right? If not, I can provide you with a backup. Luo Ye nodded. Luo Ye got a mysterious fragment in a previous copy, which recorded a special potion and a method of using controllable dark energy to forcibly open the energy gate of the human body, allowing ordinary people to break through to the first level of energy cultivation in a few days, or even the second level of energy cultivation. If successful, Luo Ye can mass-produce a batch of geniuses. He would use deception to sign soul contracts with these geniuses in advance, so that they would be controlled and used by him, thus creating a Dark Death army with super combat effectiveness. Luo Ye intended to recruit Xiaobo because he saw Xiaobo's potential. In the future, when the Dark Death plan was reopened, Xiaobo could be used as an experimental subject. If Xiaobo was lucky enough to survive the experiment, Luo Ye would be a very powerful Dark Death soldier. Luo Ye recruited dozens of students with relatively excellent qualifications from the previous batches of students before Xiaobo. He even transformed an inn into a secret base for these people. Once the laboratory returned to his hands, he would restart the Dark Death plan. With this secret army in hand, it became easy for Luo Ye to seize power from Fan Wenji. Of course, Luo Ye's ambitions did not stop there. After controlling the entire base, he would force everyone in the base to sign a soul contract with him, produce more Dark Death soldiers, and give the base the ability to capture large shelters. Of course, this kind of forced breakthrough using drugs and dark energy also has side effects, which will cause irreversible damage to the human body. Although it breaks through to the second energy level, it cannot prolong life, but will reduce life by at least 20 years. Luo Ye himself will never take this kind of drug. In addition, the information recorded on the fragment obtained by Luo Ye is incomplete, resulting in the inaccurate formula of the drug, and the drug produced will cause the death of most of the experimental subjects. Luo Ye can only let the experimental department of the base conduct secret experiments to try to complete the missing information on the fragment and reduce the mortality rate of the experimental subjects. 2 years ago, Luo Ye used his power to arrange his confidants in the experimental department to secretly promote the research of the Dark Death Soldier plan and made some progress. In this process, new students continued to disappear and die, but they were all covered up by Luo Ye until the alien insect source in the experimental department went out of control and the base mastermind enforced a large cleanup operation. After the big cleanup operation, Luo Ye of course pushed the responsibility onto the dead supervisor Zhang of the experimental department at that time, saying that he knew nothing about the research on the alien insect source. After a year of operation, all the employees of the experimental department signed contracts with Luo Ye for various reasons, and no one dared to tell the truth to the top management. Despite this, Fan Wenji still suspected that all this was related to Luo Ye. and found another reason to relieve Luo Ye of his responsibility for the experimental department. For more than a year afterwards, the communication between Luo Ye and the experimental department could only be transferred underground, and the Dark Death Soldier plan was temporarily shelved, until this alien insect invasion incident. Luo Ye used Zheng Shidao's life to gamble with Fan Wenji and regain the management rights of the experimental department. Since he regained the management rights of the experimental department, his first thing was of course to continue to promote his Dark Death Soldier plan. Of course the information is all there, as well as the main ingredients of the potion. More than 20 cysts of mature alien insects have also been properly stored in a secret warehouse deep underground as you ordered. After the big cleanup operation, I have been waiting for the day to restart the Dark Death Soldier plan, and today I finally got my day. Xue'er was delighted. Restarting the Dark Death Soldier plan means that Xue'er can obtain a large amount of personnel, materials, and financial support from Luo Ye, and she will definitely take the opportunity to enrich herself in the process. Moreover, as long as the Death Soldier plan goes smoothly, her position in the base will be very different from before. When Luo Ye gets rid of Fan Wenji one day, Xue'er believes that with her merits and qualifications, she can at least get a position as the deputy director of the base. You did a good job, but you have to be low-key this time. Don't mess it up like last time. Luo Ye told Xue'er a few words. How could I be as stupid as Supervisor Zhang? I have been secretly improving the formula of the medicine over the past year. After the plan is restarted, the laboratory will be able to provide finished medicines with the improved formula soon. The key is to find suitable experimental subjects. The survival rate of the experimental subjects before the improvement was only 20%, and the survival rate after the improvement can reach 40%, but it is still a little lower than your requirement. If you give me a dozen more experimental subjects for the experiment, I should be able to increase the survival rate of the medicine to more than 60% as you required. It's just that this kind of thing can't be kept low-key. In order to increase the survival rate of the medicine, these dozen experimental subjects will eventually die. It is difficult to hide the death of experimental subjects from the Human Resources Department. What I'm worried about is that once this happens, that woman surnamed Zhang will gossip everywhere to stop her research. Xue'er expressed her concerns to Luo Ye. You want a dozen test subjects? I've prepared them for you. The trap I asked Captain Li to set just now can trap the group of newcomers who survived dormitory area number 23. As long as any of them enter dormitory area number 23 and dig out insect sacs and claws, Captain Li will have a suitable reason to arrest them all and throw them into prison on the charge of destroying the security of the base. It will be easier to evade the death of those who are in prison, saying that they died in a fight and riot in prison. Luo Ye guessed that Xue'er would ask him for people, and he had already made arrangements for this. Director Luo's routine is really deep. There is a trap within the trap. I admire you so much. Li Liang really didn't expect that Luo Ye asked him to set a trap to deal with the group of new students who survived in order to provide Xue'er with test subjects later. This Luo boss is really shrewd. Chapter 158 Secret Warehouse. Captain Li, you can send a notice in the name of the base security department later, saying, in view of the good performance of the dozen students in Building O2 of Dormitory Area 23 during the alien insect invasion, they are allowed to freely hunt energy points in the wild in the future. Luo Ye ignored Li Liang's flattery and continued to arrange the work. Oh, Li Liang was a little confused about what Luo Ye was planning this time. By the way, tell them that if they need it, the security department can send security personnel to protect their safety in the wild. Luo Ye added a few more words. Be so good to them? No problem. I'll arrange it right away. Although Li Liang didn't quite understand, he knew that Luo Ye must have his purpose in doing this. Director Luo's previous trap to get them into dormitory number 23 to dig out insect sacs and claws was Plan A, and this arrangement is Plan B. Plan B will gradually relax their vigilance against going out to the base. Once Plan A fails, we can use Plan B to forcibly capture them in the wild and send them directly back to the laboratory as experimental subjects. At that time, we will say that they died outside the base while on a mission. Xue'er explained to Li Liang on behalf of Luo Ye. Your IQ is much higher than his. Luo Shidan praised Hugues. Thank you Director Luo for the compliment. Hugues grinned happily. I am a little stupid, but my loyalty to Director Luo is unmatched. Li Liang laughed awkwardly. Alright. Luo Shidan reached out and slapped Li Liang on the head again. Although it was a slap, it showed that the relationship between him and Li Liang was indeed extraordinary. I'm very interested in the new student named Jin Ke. I heard that he survived after staying in the dark for a whole night. According to my analysis, in addition to the rune array that Zheng Shidao has not handed over, there must be something different in Jin Ke's body. If I can get him, I would like to dissect him alive to see what parts of his internal structure are different from those of ordinary people. After figuring it out, it will be very helpful for my future research. Hugues proposed to Luo Shidan. It's not appropriate for us to touch him now. Wait until he takes the bait. As long as he makes mistakes again, such as hiding weapons, no one will dare to protect him. At that time, he will be handed over to you for your research. Whether it's dissecting alive or dead, you can arrange it yourself. Luo Shidan nodded. Director Xiao, I will let my old man find a way to lure him into the trap. Hugues was very happy, and her expression was already a little impatient to dissect Jin Ke alive. Take me to see the secret warehouse underground, Luo Shidan proposed to Hugues. Okay, follow me. Hugues led Luo Shidan and Li Liang into her inner office. The inner office was more like a lounge, with a bed in the corner. After entering the inner office, Hugues walked to the bed, lifted the quilt and a bedboard that looked very hidden, and turned an inconspicuous wrench on the pattern of the bedboard. A wall of the lounge made a slight friction sound, and the alloy wall slowly retreated into the wall, revealing a heavy circular hatch. This door is currently only open by me. After Hugues verified the palm print, iris, specific voice and entered a long string of passwords, the buckle around the circular hatch was released with a click. Hugues turned the rocker in the middle of the circular hatch and opened the circular hatch. Inside the circular hatch was a small room, and in the center of the room was an elevator. This small room is surrounded by energy barriers. There is no other way to get into this room except by opening the hatch. No one would have thought that there is a secret warehouse below. Manager Luo, please come this way. Hugues pointed to the hidden elevator in the middle of the house and made a gesture of invitation to Luo Shidan. This security measure is in place. Luo Shidan looked very satisfied and walked to the elevator. The most valuable information and raw materials of the Dark Death plan are stored inside. They were obtained at the cost of more than 1,000 lives. Of course, they must be kept safe. Hugues replied to Luo Shidan, and then entered the elevator with Li Liang. The round hatch closed automatically, and the elevator began to accelerate downward, and stopped after going down about 10 meters. Leaving the elevator requires verification again. Here, the verification is the palm print of Hugues' other hand, the iris of the other eye, another specific voice and a long string of passwords that are different from the ones when entering the elevator. This is deep underground. My old man built a secret underground warehouse with dozens of new apprentices. After the warehouse was built, they were all secretly executed according to your request. A big pit was dug and buried under the floor of the warehouse. At present, no one in the entire base knows about this secret warehouse except me, my husband, you, Director Luo, and Captain Li. Hugues looked very proud. Well done. Luo Shidan praised Hugues again. It is an honor for us to work for Director Luo. Hugues completed all the verifications, opened the hatch of the underground warehouse, and walked in with Luo Shidan. The underground warehouse is located deep below the ground and is extremely secretive. The entrance of the elevator is sealed by a heavy hatch and energy band that needs to be verified, so there is no guard in the warehouse, but an automatic sensor light is installed. After the three people entered, the light automatically lit up. The underground warehouse covers an area of about 100 square meters. There are no partitions, but it is slightly divided into several areas by several large shelves. There is a refrigerator against the wall. After opening the door, there are about 20 mature insect cysts placed in several layers. All of them are the results before the big cleanup last year. They were stored in this underground secret warehouse before the big cleanup, avoiding the fate of being destroyed. These 20 or so cysts are enough to make 100 doses of medicine. At the current survival rate of 40%, 40 Dark Death Warriors can be trained. If the survival rate can be increased to 60%, 60 Dark Death Warriors can be trained. Xue'er introduced a few words to Luo Ye. Wait until the survival rate in your laboratory is increased to 60% before starting to make medicine. There is no way to mass-produce cysts for the time being. Every cyst in this inventory is very important to us. Luo Ye gave work guidance. Follow your instructions. As long as the dozen or so experimental subjects who survived in dormitory number 23 are in place, my new medicine experiment can start immediately. Xue'er certainly would not have any objection to this. Captain Li, you and her husband should cooperate well and lure them into the trap as soon as possible. Luo Ye turned to Liang. Chapter 159 Troubled Times. I will definitely fulfill my mission. Liang gave Luo Ye a clumsy military salute. After looking at more than 20 insect cysts, Xue'er showed Luo Ye several large boxes of raw materials for medicine. The raw materials were sealed in various solutions. They were the results of her secret research over the past year. As long as the experiment was successful, more than 20 insect cysts could be mixed with these raw materials at any time to produce finished medicine for cultivating Dark Death soldiers. Then, there was a metal coffin surrounded by several shelves in the corner. There was a corpse lying in the metal coffin. It was similar to the corpse that Jin Ke and Zhang Shidao pulled back from the ruined temple. This corpse had an egg-shaped insect egg in its stomach. This egg could hatch an alien insect source body. As long as this corpse and this insect egg were there, the Dark Death Soldier plan could continue. The next morning, Whelan Home Community, 16 Villas, Restaurant. Zhu turned on the TV and found a program that particularly liked to report various disasters and accidents. Welcome to today's news. Yesterday, the citizens of Tanxing City were caught in a strange wind. The strange wind in the city made it extremely difficult for pedestrians to walk. This strange wind also caused a tragedy. The tower crane of a building under construction in District C of Jingxiu Xiangting was suddenly blown down by the wind and smashed into a villa next to the door of District B. An IT company was located in the villa. Dozens of fire trucks, police cars, and ambulances arrived at the scene for rescue. Rescue workers claimed that more than a dozen employees of the company were killed except for the supervisor and logistics who were away, but this news has not been officially confirmed yet. A resident who lives next to the accident villa said in an interview with reporters that the accident happened around 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. He was sleeping at the time and was suddenly awakened by the collapsed tower crane. They were then asked to evacuate to a nearby hotel, and they don't know when they can go home. It was also reported that at dinner time yesterday, a gas stove exploded in a private room of a restaurant in Huai City, igniting the room. At that time, the door lock of the private room malfunctioned and was locked and could not be opened. Because the fire was fierce, witnesses saw several people in the room chose to jump from the upstairs and died on the spot. After the firefighters arrived, they quickly put out the fire. Unfortunately, more than a dozen customers inside had all died in the thick smoke in the private room. Some people claimed that if the restaurant manager or the waiter had found a way to break open the door of the private room, they should have been able to save these people's lives. But it was heard that after the fire broke out, they all fled the scene, and the people in the private room could not break open the door from the inside, which led to this tragedy. An insider claimed that these dozen young customers were employees of the same company. Yesterday was really eventful. Here is another piece of news. There was a chain rear-end collision on the Pingwang Expressway. 2 large trucks crashed into a bus. What do you think? Zhu asked other colleagues around him after the show ended. The villa in Tanxing City. Needless to say, it must be similar to ours, and it is also one of the bases of the studio. Kinheiji answered Zhu. They must be new students in the number 23 dormitory area. Liu Zhu sighed. Has no one really doubted these things? Yu Gang looked a little angry. The ability of the studio may be far beyond your and my imagination. Zhu reminded Yu Gang a few words. There is no doubt that the studio is an organization with supernatural powers, and it has existed for a long time. I am a little surprised about this. Have they never revealed any clues? Dao Baking spoke. Director Chen is here. Niu reminded everyone. Everyone stopped talking and ate breakfast in silence. In this situation, They can only live one more day. After breakfast and returning to the room on the second floor, Jin controlled the character to go to the base assessment office. Although there is a game cabin, Jin Ke does not want to use it when Xue'er is awake, so he will use his mobile phone for the time being. When Xue'er fell asleep, or when Liu Zioxi finished her work and came to take Xue'er to the rooftop to bask in the sun, Jin Ke summoned the game cabin to experience the immersive operation method. The base evaluation department has special instruments to evaluate and score the various attributes of the character. After nearly an hour of evaluation, Jin Ke received a certificate of qualification with an anti-counterfeiting seal. With the certificate of qualification, Jin Ke went to the logistics management office according to the procedure. After completing the registration procedures at the logistics management office, he got the employee identity card. In fact, the information in the student card chip was erased and rewritten, and the authority was upgraded to the status of an E-level employee. This also means that from now on, Jin Ke officially changed from a new student to an employee of the base. When choosing his employment intention, Jin Ke of course filled in the equipment department. Because Jin Ke has not yet awakened the rune carving skill, he is temporarily in the internship period. The internship period lasts for 3 months. After 3 months, if Jin Ke has not awakened the rune carving skill, the department head will decide whether to postpone the assessment. The extension is 2 months. The head has the authority to postpone the assessment twice. If the rune carving skill has not been awakened by then, the next level head will decide whether to postpone the assessment. The salary and benefits of employees during the internship and trainee period are the same. The head will assess how many contribution points they can get every day based on the workload. Compared with the internship and trainee employees, the regular employees who have been converted to regular employees have an additional daily base salary, but the base salary is very small at the beginning, and it will increase year by year with the years of service and workability assessment. If you want to earn more, you have to work harder. None of these are important. There are only Zhang Shidao and Jin Ke in the equipment department. Jin Ke's purpose of joining the equipment department is not to earn those contribution points. He is interested in the rune carving skill, especially after Zhang Shidao agreed to help him sign the bill in the cafeteria. The contribution points of the base seemed to be of no use to him. But Jin Ke soon changed his mind. He changed his mind after visiting the base exchange office and the base transmission center. The base exchange office has a wide variety of goods for exchange or rental, including blue daggers that he can use now. They are not for sale, but only for rent. The rent is very expensive, requiring 200 contribution points a day. White daggers are much cheaper, and the rent only requires 20 contribution points a day. It takes 2,000 contribution points to exchange for a white dagger. When Jin Ke was rescued from the number 23 dormitory area, he had an alien claw secretly tied to his leg. After coming out of the medical cabin, it was also confiscated by the base security without hesitation. Chapter 160 Out of stock. There is no way. According to the rules of the base, all equipment obtained by rookies during the period of training belongs to the base, and the base does not even need to pay for it. Yesterday, Jin Ke took the time to write an application to the base office, requesting the security department to return the claw tied to his leg, but was directly rejected. The reason was the base's regulations. Jin Ke counted a large number of Zerg-infected bodies in the number 23 dormitory area and dissected more than 100 Zerg claws, which have now been placed at the exchange office. The exchange price is 2,500 contribution points. After leaving the rookie period and becoming an E-level employee of the base, the white equipment and below that can be owned by you, blue equipment and above must be handed in, and the base will give a certain amount of contribution points as a reward. If you want to obtain higher quality equipment and own it, you must first upgrade your employee level in the base. The promotion of employee level requires multiple assessments, which is more difficult than promotion in public institutions in the real world. After the Zerg invasion, the base security department further strengthened the control of weapons and equipment. Even if you rent blue equipment and above, you can only equip them when you leave the base, and you cannot use them in the base. Only white equipment and below are not restricted in the base. In addition to weapons and equipment, there are various potions in the base exchange office. For example, Potions that enhance certain attributes can maintain their effectiveness for a few seconds to a few minutes, and the price ranges from a few hundred contribution points to a few thousand contribution points. In Jin Ke's opinion, these weapons and equipment, attribute potions are not worth exchanging, at least in the current situation where his account does not have a lot of contribution points. Exchanging these things is not cost-effective. However, there is a type of potion that Jin Ke may use at present: red medicine. Primary red medicine, such as red medicine that restores 50 health points within 5 minutes, is priced at 500 contribution points. Red medicine that restores 500 health points within 5 minutes is priced at 8,000 contribution points, and red medicine that restores 100, 200, 300, etc. within 5 minutes is priced between 500 contribution points and 8,000 contribution points. There are also intermediate red medicines. The red medicine that can restore 50 health points in 2 minutes is priced at 2,000 points, and the red medicine that can restore 500 health points in 2 minutes is priced at 30,000 points. Luo Zhangchun's profession is really profitable. If he is still alive, he will become a high-level pharmacist and will not have to worry about not having money in the future. Jin Ke still has more than 3,000 contribution points in his account, all of which were won from Xiaobo at that time, except for a part of it spent on virtual training. The rest has been left in the account. More than 3,000 contribution points are only enough to exchange for 6 bottles of primary red medicine, which is also the only commodity he thinks is worth exchanging. Now Jin Ke has no plans to go out for the time being, so he did not exchange the red medicine immediately. If I buy a few more bottles of red medicine, is there any discount? Before leaving, Jin Ke still chatted with the staff of the exchange management office. If there is a discount for buying 6 bottles at a time, then buy more to keep in stock. Anyway, he is not planning to buy anything else. What kind of red medicine? The staff asked Jin Ke. Elementary, 50 horsepower. Jin Ke pointed to the brand name. This one? Out of stock. The staff shook his head. Then, when it's in stock, is there any discount if I buy more bottles? Jin Ke asked. Discount? The stock has been sold out. By the way, if you want to order and get it early, you can increase the price. If you increase the price more than others, you can get priority. The staff looked sarcastic. It's obviously sold out, and you still want a discount. Forget it. Just pretend I didn't ask. Jin Ke shook his head. The price is really expensive. In comparison, the food in the cafeteria is really too cheap. 1 egg island, only 1 contribution point. It's so cheap. But it's not surprising. The food in the cafeteria is industrially mass-produced, but these potions require special materials and pharmacists to mix them one by one. The high price is probably due to labor and material costs. Of course, the base also charges a fee. In Jin Ke's opinion, the base under Fan Wenji's supervision is a mess. In yesterday's conversation with mentor Chen Wei, the studio said that Fan Wenji was not allowed to be touched at any time. It seems that Fan Wenji should have the secret support of the studio, otherwise he would not have sat in the position of the top leader for so long. What is the relationship between the base in the game world and the Jinjai studio in the real world? Jin Ke became more and more curious about this question. After walking a few steps away from the exchange center, Jin Ke walked back and, after bargaining, bought a Zerg hand claw for 2,000 contribution points. This thing is very easy to use and is much stronger than the Grey Dagger. You must have a weapon for self-defense in the base, and this weapon is white, which is allowed to be carried on the body according to the rules. The Zerg hand claw that I bought has been engraved with the anti-counterfeiting logo of the base, but this also means that this weapon is officially allowed to be carried. If you are stopped by the security guard, you can show the logo and it will not be confiscated. It feels bad to have to spend money to buy the weapons and equipment that you have obtained yourself, but there is no way. Your strength is not strong enough. If you are really strong like Yao Chengzhou, no one in the entire base will dare to control you. After leaving the exchange office at the base, Jin came to the base teleportation center. The base teleportation center is a set of high-end future technology products. After purchasing from large shelters, it is disassembled into small pieces and dragged back to the base, and then reassembled by professionals at the base. After entering the base teleportation center and reading the relevant instructions, Jin Ke was immediately attracted by this place. The base teleportation center can teleport base personnel to the recruit training centers built in some large shelters. The teleported personnel can choose the destination of teleportation according to their level. Jin Ke is now around 130 in the 10-dimensional circumference, so he can only choose to teleport to those areas between 120 and 144 in the 10-dimensional circumference. These recruit training centers are built in the wild, and various wild monsters in the wild are kept in captivity in some way, providing the personnel who are teleported there with a relatively safe way to hunt energy points to improve the level of various skills. The bodies of the killed wild monsters will be sent back to the darkness of the night, and can be sent to the enclosure the next day for the recruits to hunt energy points. One of the teleportation destinations caught Jin Ke's attention. This teleportation point is said to have more than 10,000 elite black corpses for the teleporters to hunt. About 200 will be released at a time for 20 recruits to hunt. After they are killed, the teleportation point's main brain will automatically release a second round of 200. Elite black corpses are stronger than ordinary black corpses, but one level lower than mutant black corpses. Chapter 161 Ticket Money. The attack method of the elite black corpse is similar to that of the ordinary black corpse. It can only attack with claws. It has a simple slashing skill. This skill has no other effects and is only twice as damaging as the ordinary claw attack. The health of this elite black corpse is about 300-350. After being killed, it can hunt about 20 energy points. The cost of teleporting there once is 30,000 contribution points. You can only stay there for 2 hours. If you want to stay there for more time, you need to pay more contribution points at one time. The recruit training center does not allow you to bring your own weapons and equipment. They will provide a unified free rental of white weapons and equipment. The training center sells red medicine, but the price is very expensive and needs to be purchased in advance before going. If you buy it and don't use it during training, the currency you paid will not be returned. In addition to providing a unified free rental of white weapons and equipment, the recruit training center also provides higher quality weapons and equipment for rent for recruits, but you must also pay the rent in advance before going. Each base or shelter has different currencies. For example, if Jin Ke wants to go to the recruit training center, the contribution points for buying tickets are given to the base he belongs to. A small part is used to pay for the transmission fee on the base side, and the other part is converted by the base into the unified currency energy core in the game world and paid to the recruit training center on his behalf. Of course, since the base has opened this service, it means that a part of the deposit has been prepaid at the recruit training center, and the employees of the base have the opportunity to go to the recruit training center to hunt for energy points. More than 10,000 elite black corpses. Jin Ke's eyes lit up. The elite black corpses have no control skills, only simple hand claw attacks, and their health is between 300-350. If you use death charge to hunt them, you can harvest them quickly. Each elite black corpse provides 20 energy points. More than 10,000 elite black corpses can provide a total of more than 200,000 energy points. It only takes more than 2,000 energy points to upgrade both Kiss of Death and Soul Gathering to LV8. Once these two skills are evolved after reaching LV8, Jin Ke's strength will be raised to another level. It takes more than 600,000 energy points to upgrade Death Charge and Death Harvest to LV16. If you teleport them more than a dozen times, you can evolve these two skills again, especially Death Charge, if it can be upgraded to LV16. Even if it does not evolve, the maximum distance of the charge will increase by 4 meters to 8 meters, and Jin Ke's mobility will be greatly enhanced. Although evolution requires luck, Jin Ke believes that his luck will definitely not be bad. Maybe every skill can evolve when it reaches LV8 and LV16. He survived the darkness in the wild. Isn't this luck against the sky? Who can compare with him? The most urgent task is to collect 30,000 contribution points. Go and upgrade the Kiss of Death and Soul Gathering to LV8. In 2 hours, Jin Ke can easily harvest tens of thousands of energy points. Ideals are full. However, Reality is very skinny. The problem now is, Jin Ke does not have 30,000 contribution points in his account. He originally had more than 3,000 contribution points. After buying a pair of alien insect claws, he only had more than 1,000 left. He still needs more than 28,000 contribution points to collect enough money for one teleport. Where can I get contribution points? Equipment Department. The equipment department has now been changed into a prison, with only Zhang Shidao imprisoned. The urgent desire to evolve the kiss of death quickly increased Jin Ke's thick skin. The purpose of his coming to the equipment department was to decide to borrow money from his master Zhang Shidao. Borrow contribution points? There is something. In fact, I wanted to talk to you a few days ago. Zhang Shidao changed the subject. What is it, master? Jin Ke had a hunch that it would not be a good thing. It's like this. We agreed that after you learn rune carving from me, all the contribution points you earn will belong to me, and then I will pay for all your meals, right? Yes. Jin Ke nodded. Considering that you work very hard, I notified the canteen in advance to sign the bill for you, but what I didn't expect was, your appetite is too big. You eat 300 or 400 contribution points of food a day. Yesterday, the canteen just brought me a bill. They estimated that my year-end bonus might not be enough to pay for the bill you signed, so they asked me to pay them a few thousand contribution points in advance. This not only emptied my account, but also owed the canteen more than 1,000 contribution points. And now you are asking me to borrow money? Zhang Shidao spread his hands. There is such a thing, master. I really didn't mean it. I'm so tired from working every day, and I get hungry easily. Jin Ke laughed awkwardly. The old man is still the best. The old man is very smart. As soon as he asked him to borrow money, he was counterattacked. How much money do you want to borrow? What for? I'll go to my old friends and help you collect it. See if I can get it together. Zhang Shidao thought about it and proposed to Jin Ke. I want to go to the teleportation center to kill energy points. One ticket costs 30,000 contribution points. I want to buy more than a dozen tickets and kill more than a dozen times. Only when my strength is improved can I kill Luo Ye. Killing Luo Ye is to avenge my master. Jin Ke told Zhang Shidao the purpose of borrowing contribution points. Ouch, ouch, my head hurts. Zhang Shidao suddenly tilted his body, foaming at the mouth, and fell to the ground next to him. Master, are you okay? Jin Ke hurried forward and tried to help Zhang Shidao up. I'm fine. I was just scared by hundreds of thousands of contribution points. Zhang Shidao closed his eyes tightly, with an exaggerated expression of pain on his face. Master, you are so good at acting. You should go to make a movie. Don't be like this. Can't I borrow less? Just borrow 30,000 contribution points and buy a ticket. Jin Ke forcibly pulled Zhang Shidao up from the ground. Ouch, my heart hurts. Zhang Shidao fell to the ground again, foaming at the mouth. Okay, I won't lend you any more contribution points. Master, get up. Jin Ke pulled Zhang Shidao up from the ground again. The teleportation center is really not a place that ordinary people can afford to play with. With 30,000 contribution points, how many energy points can you hunt back in 2 hours? Don't be so wasteful. If you really want to hunt energy points, find a few more companions and go to the back mountain to find a place with more black corpses to kill. Zhang Shidao persuaded Jin Ke a few words. Well, I know. Jin Ke looked at Zhang Shidao's situation and estimated that he really didn't have money to lend him, so he didn't force him. Without borrowing money and buying a teleportation ticket to the teleportation center, Jin Ke could only give up temporarily. Of course, he didn't give up completely. He would use his brain to find a way to get enough money for the ticket. More than 10,000 elite black corpses. As long as he could get through, he would definitely not lose money. This was also the best way for him to improve his strength in a short period of time. Chapter 162 Main Body Operation. When Jin Ke was controlling his character to walk around the base, Xue'er came in and said that he would take Xue'er to the rooftop platform to bask in the sun while eating supplementary food, and then send her down at noon. After Xue'er carried Xue'er out, Jin controlled his character to return to the dormitory in Building 10 of Dormitory Area 24, which was newly arranged for them by the base. Then he left the head of the bed in the real world and walked to the open space beside the bed. Of course, he wanted to Experience the high-end feeling of playing games in the future technology game cabin. Playing games in the future technology game cabin must feel very different. The last time he went in to experience it, he was trapped in the dark medical cabin. This time, he can finally try out the functions of this game cabin. After closing the door and drawing the curtains, Jin Ke, who had the experience of using the game cabin for the first time, easily called up the game cabin in the villa room and lay down. Just like the last time, after a darkened trance, Jin Ke suddenly woke up like a drowning man floating to the surface. Everything around him has changed. Shit. Although he was mentally prepared, Jin Ke was still very shocked when he really entered this immersive game experience. This is completely different from the virtual immersive experience created by those VR glasses. Is this the real world? Jin Ke looked at his hands and touched his face. All the feelings were no different from the real world. He pinched his legs. It hurt just as much as pinching his legs in the real world. Is this a game? Jin Ke asked himself repeatedly. This is time travel. Jin Ke finally came to a conclusion. At the beginning, Jin Ke played this game using the automatic target lock operation mode. Later, in order to maximize the power of the kiss of death, he changed to a full manual operation mode. What is it now? A full body movement operation mode? Menu. Jin Ke called out in his mind. A game menu similar to the one on a mobile phone screen appeared in Jin Ke's field of vision. The interface was semi-blurred, and the options were all at the edge of the field of vision, which would not hinder his vision. Jin Ke opened the settings menu with his mind and found that there was another operation mode. Simulated mobile phone operation mode. After adjusting to the simulated mobile phone operation mode, a virtual mobile phone interface appeared in front of him, and there were two virtual arms. He could no longer directly control his body, and could only use the virtual arms to operate on the virtual mobile phone interface, which felt somewhat similar to the operation method in the real world. Press the walk button on the virtual mobile phone screen, and the character can walk. Press the skill button on the virtual mobile phone, and the character can release the corresponding skill. But it's awkward. Indescribably awkward. Jin Ke switched back to the default operation mode, that is, the operation mode where he controls his body to move however he wants. How to release skills in this situation? Mind? Jin Ke used his mind to imagine himself releasing the death cut skill forward, and his body really moved. A flash of light and shadow flashed, and a death cut was released in the air. After trying several times, Jin Ke found that he could make some fine adjustments to the skill release action by himself during the skill release process. Although the skills are fixed, the body is your own. After fine-tuning, it feels like there will be some unexpected benefits. After trying the death cut skill, Jin Ke tried the death charge skill. This skill is even more awesome. With a thought, the body flies forward, or teleports several meters. Cool. The feeling of operating on the phone and on the body is completely different. After the death charge skill cools down, looking at the wall in front of him, Jin Ke's mind moves, and his body instantly passes through the wall and comes to the corridor outside the door. It's completely the feeling of a superpower. Jin Ke returned to the room and repeatedly tried to release various skills. At first, he was not used to it. After practicing a few more times, he slowly found the feeling of moving his mind at will. He found that this method of operating with his mind moving at will is obviously better than the method of tapping the screen with fingers on the phone. If nothing else, at least it is a few tenths of a second faster. In the park between players, being a few tenths of a second faster means that you can dodge the opponent's skills, attack first, and keep the initiative firmly in your hands. Jin Ke believed that after he had practiced many times and became proficient in this immersive game mode, he would have a greater advantage in fighting against the enemy than the mobile phone operation mode. Oh, there was one more important issue: the plug-in. When he used the mobile phone to operate before, the plug-in in the mobile phone brought him a lot of benefits. If the plug-in was gone, his advantage over other players would be greatly reduced. After thinking for a while, Jin Ke used his mind to change the operation mode to the simulated mobile phone operation mode, and then switched back to the main interface of the mobile phone as in the real world. Seeing the familiar plug-in icons on the main interface of the mobile phone, Jin could not help but be overjoyed. He hurriedly tried to manually open the strength training plug-in that he had been using recently. After opening it, Jinke's character was no longer controlled by Jin Ke and walked out of the dormitory door on his own. Jin Ke himself was suspended on the character's body like a phantom, and was forced to follow the character's field of vision. Soon the character walked out of the number 24 dormitory area and prepared to go to the strength training center of the base along the route set by the plug-in. Jin Ke didn't like this feeling, so he quickly terminated the plug-in program. It seems that when he wants to use plug-ins in the future, it is more comfortable to leave the game cabin and return to the previous operation mode in the real world. Otherwise, it will be like a ghost if it hangs on the character like this. After studying the menu in his vision for a while, Jin Ke found that he didn't need to change the operation mode to the virtual mobile phone operation mode to call up the virtual mobile phone interface and turn on the plugins in the main interface. After turning on the plugin in this way, Jin can still control his body at any time, but he can also be lazy and ignore everything and let the plugin control his body to walk or something. Detection plugin turned on. Conducted detection. Jin Ke deliberately recited a few sentences in his mind. Unexpectedly, it really worked. A detection map within 50 square meters appeared at the edge of Jin Ke's vision, on which the distribution of buildings and staff in the base could be clearly seen. Power training plugin turned on. Jin Ke recited another sentence in his mind. The character walked towards the power training center again. Stop cheating, Jin Ke thought, and the character stopped where he was. Originally, everything was so simple. I could do whatever I wanted. It was so convenient. Jin Ke gradually fell in love with this immersive operation mode of the game cabin. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 163, No Profit, No Gain. 6th update, please vote. Standing outside the door of dormitory number 24, Jin Ke pondered for a while and decided to go to the simulated park cabin of the Assassin Training Center to experience the feeling of park fighting with real bodies and adapt to the way of real body fighting as soon as possible. On the way to the Assassin Training Center, when passing the gate of dormitory number 23 next door, Jin Ke found that the construction site of dormitory number 23 was recruiting laborers. A large sign was just taken out by 2 workers and placed across the middle of the road, just blocking Jin Ke's way. It was hard not to see it. The main job of the laborer is to help the construction workers carry and pass things, and mix cement and so on. Jin Ke pondered for a moment. This is an opportunity to sneak into the construction site. If there is no one around and no surveillance, he can secretly dig out the wave corpse claws and insect cysts. Are you here to find a job? A man who looked like a foreman greeted him enthusiastically, as enthusiastic as a wife waiting for her husband to go home at the seaside, with an extremely eager look in his eyes. The foreman's name is Xue'er, the husband of Xue'er, the head of the experimental department. He was entrusted by Liang to complete the task arranged by Luo Ye, and was waiting here for Jin Ke to take the bait. After he came here, he immediately made a large sign for recruitment. When he found that Jin Ke was just going out, he quickly asked the workers to block Jin Ke with the sign. I'm applying for a small job to earn a few contribution points. I don't know who to look for. Jin Ke was flattered and quickly explained his purpose. Oh, that's right, look for me. What can you do? I'll arrange it for you right away. Xue'er asked Jin Ke. I can lay floor tiles. Jin Ke answered Xue'er. He stood outside the gate of the number 23 dormitory area and could clearly see that the floor of the lobby on the first floor of the O2 dormitory building was severely damaged. No one had repaired it yet. Laying floor tiles was the easiest way to get close to the place where he buried the treasure without arousing suspicion. Really? Which dormitory do you want to lay floor tiles? Xue'er asked Jin Ke. Jin Ke was playing in the game cabin today. For some reason, he felt that the foreman's attitude was a little too enthusiastic, and the look he gave him was a little malicious. If he was playing on a mobile phone, such a subtle expression would be hard to detect. Could he be a gay man? And the way this man asked was a little strange. Jin came here to apply for a laborer position. Things like laying floor tiles are not something that laborers can usually do. right? And as soon as Jin Ke said he could lay floor tiles, this man was impatient to ask him which dormitory he wanted to lay floor tiles for. There must be something wrong with things that are not normal. There must be something fishy here. Jin quickly thought of another thing. It was the question of where he hid the corpse claws and insect sacks after he successfully dug them out. The insect sacks could be handed over to Zhang Shidao, but how to deal with the corpse claws would be more difficult. After the Zerg invasion, Jin carefully read the relevant regulations in the base and found that there was a rule that blue and above weapons and equipment must be turned in. Only special personnel are allowed to be equipped with registered weapons and equipment. If high-quality weapons and equipment are privately kept, they will be imprisoned in the base prison for several months to several years depending on the severity of the case. Luo Ye must be unhappy that Jin Ke survived the darkness of the wild. Once Jin Ke's private possession of the corpse claws is discovered, Luo Ye will definitely take advantage of the situation to punish him severely. If he is sentenced to a few years in the base prison, Jin Ke's gaming career can basically be declared over. The Zerg invasion also made Jin Ke feel that their dormitory was not a safe place to store items. Not to mention that the security department has the right to search the dormitory. The personnel in the base who have the ability to move through walls can move to his dormitory when Jin Ke is not there and turn it upside down. Unless there are props with space storage capabilities, such as rings and bracelets, and weapons hidden in rings and bracelets are not easy to be discovered. However, Jin Ke also learned that props with spatial storage capabilities are extremely expensive. In the entire base, only people like Fan Wenji and Luo Ye have one or two of them. The base store does not sell such things at all. Moreover, even storage props are not safe. New students have no personal rights in the base. The security department can throw a new student into the medical cabin for a full-body examination at will. Storage props will definitely not escape the inspection of the medical cabin. If they are confiscated, they will be sentenced to a heavier sentence. Have you thought about it? Which dormitory do you want to lay the floor tiles? Foreman Xue'er saw Jin Ke hesitating, so he asked again, looking a little impatient. Let me see. Jin Ke replied to Xue'er, and he had already vaguely felt that something was wrong. All the Zerg-infected and Zerg-derived bodies in dormitory area number 23 have been dissected. The worm cysts of the Zerg-derived bodies are missing, and one of the claws is a fake. It is estimated that it is unlikely to be hidden from the experimental department personnel. Now the experimental department is under the management of Luo Ye, and Luo Ye's security department has emphasized that weapons cannot be hidden privately. The foreman in front of him is eager to let Jin Ke lay the floor tiles, and then hide and monitor him secretly, waiting for him to dig out the worm cysts and corpse claws and catch them, and then punish him. Damn, it's so dangerous. I almost fell into Luo Ye's trap. How many contribution points can I get for laying a brick? Jin Ke asked Xue'er calmly. E-level workers get 6 points, D-level workers get 10 points, and C-level workers get 20 points. What level of worker are you? Foreman Xue'er asked Jin Ke a few questions. How much is the salary for B-level workers? Jin Ke asked again. We don't even have C-level workers here, and we don't have a salary for B-level workers. Tell me what level you are first, and I'll pay you accordingly. Xue'er shook his head. No level. No level? That brick is 1 point. Xue'er immediately asked for the lowest salary. The floor tiles I lay are of higher quality than those laid by C-level workers. Maybe they have reached B level. 1 point is definitely not appropriate. I will only do it if it is at least 50 points per brick. Jin Ke felt that something was wrong and was ready to withdraw. Of course, if he asked too much at this time, the other party would definitely refuse, and then Jin Ke would leave. If the other party dared to agree, he would make a lot of contribution points. The floor tiles you laid are of higher quality than those laid by C-level workers. You've reached B level? Are you kidding me? A D-level worker happened to pass by. This worker was a good friend of Xue'er, a middle-aged man in his 40s named Cao Chengyu. He had been laying floor tiles all his life, but was currently only rated D level by the main brain, and could only earn 10 contribution points for laying a floor tile. Haha, you brag without even thinking about it. Xue'er also had a mocking expression on his face. Chapter 164. Every profession has its own specialty. 7th update, please vote. The evaluation of the level of workers in laying floor tiles cannot be cheated by the main brain. While laying, the main brain will assess and evaluate the flatness, slope, density of cement, sand, and water ratio under the floor tiles, and then give a specific rating result, whether it is E level, D level, or C level, B level, etc. You should know that in the entire base, Xue'er is the person with the highest level of floor tile laying. He has already reached the peak of D level and is just a little bit away from the threshold of C level, but he has been stuck at the bottleneck and can no longer break through. I didn't expect this young man to say that the floor tiles he laid were better than those of C-level workers. Xue'er suddenly felt unbearable. I haven't started laying yet. How do you know I can't do it? Forget it. I feel that my talent is not appreciated. I'd better find a job somewhere else. Jin turned around and prepared to leave. Try laying 2 tiles here. If you can really reach the sea level or above, I will give you 50 per tile. Foreman Xue'er quickly grabbed Jin Ke. His task here was to protect Jin Ke and lure him into the trap. If Jin Ke ran away, how would he explain to Luo Ye and Luo Ye? Okay, let's give it a try. Jin Ke came here to dig up corpse claws and insect cysts, but after suspecting that it was Luo Ye's trap, he gave up his original plan. If you can earn 50 contribution points by laying a floor tile, it would be a waste not to make money, and what he lacks most now is contribution points. Wait, we have to make a deal. If the floor tiles you lay cannot reach the sea level or above, you have to lay all the floor tiles in this dormitory area without taking any contribution points. You are not allowed to leave if you don't meet the standards. Foreman Xue'er immediately proposed additional conditions to Jin Ke. Xue'er must complete the task assigned by Luo Ye. If Jin Ke leaves because the reward is too low, he will not be able to complete this task. Xue'er now has to do everything he can to keep Jin Ke first. As long as Jin Ke is kept here to lay the floor tiles, he will send everyone away, so that Jin Ke has the opportunity to find the weapons and insect sacks he buried, and then he can catch him red-handed. As for the reward for laying floor tiles, can this young man really reach a sea-level rating or above? Bullshit. Foreman Xue'er himself is a senior construction worker. He knows how difficult it is to reach a sea-level rating or above for laying floor tiles. Moreover, as long as Jin Ke is caught red-handed, no matter how many contribution points he is promised, Luo Ye can force him to return them. I will lay all the tiles by myself. Okay. Jin Ke made a preliminary estimate. There are at least 1,000 tiles in the entire dormitory area number 23, 50 contribution points per brick. A total of more than 50,000 contribution points can be earned. Words are not enough. I think you can sign a contract. Worker Xue'er was watching the fun nearby. Yes, sign a contract. You must lay all the floor tiles before you can leave. Foreman Xue'er thought Xue'er's statement made sense, and hurriedly added a few words to Jin Ke before signing the contract. I want to try a floor tile first. After all, I haven't laid it for a long time, and my hands are a little rusty. Jin Ke asked Foreman Xue'er. No problem. Foreman Xue'er certainly didn't believe that Jin Ke's level would improve by leaps and bounds to sea level or above after trying a floor tile. Jin Ke wanted to try a tile, not because his hands were rusty or something like that. He had never laid floor tiles before. He did this to try whether he could activate the plugin to help him lay the floor tiles. If the plugin could not be activated during the laying process, there might be no plugin in Xiaomi mobile phones for this purpose. Jin Ke didn't have the diamond drill, so he naturally wouldn't take on the porcelain job. But if the plugin is activated, Jin Ke will certainly take this opportunity to make a small fortune and collect enough money for the ticket to the transmission center. After the foreman Xue'er agreed, Jin Ke moved a floor tile and pretended to lay it on the ground with cement, sand and gravel. After the construction department entered the site, they had arranged for personnel to chisel up all the original floor tiles on the floor of the number 23 dormitory area in advance, preparing to relay them all with unified new floor tiles. So Jin Ke now only needs to lay the floor tile in front of him on the open space. More workers from the construction department gathered together. When they heard that Jin Ke claimed that he could lay floor tiles of the high standards of sea-level workers, They immediately pointed fingers at Jin Ke. This new guy really doesn't know how high the sky is and how deep the earth is. That's right, everyone has their own expertise. Maybe he is good at other things, but the skill of laying floor tiles cannot reach the D level without practicing for 10 or 8 years. He said he laid C level. What a joke. Look at his clumsy appearance. He must be a complete novice. C level? I think he is at T level. Too funny. Do you see his movements? Are they laying floor tiles? Are they just playing house? The crowd watching quickly saw that Jin Ke was an amateur, and the kind of amateur that couldn't pretend to be an amateur at all. He was just like them when they first started this business, or even worse. Such a person actually dared to claim that he could lay C-level floor tiles. He simply didn't take them. The experienced workers, seriously. Amid the laughter of the crowd, Jin Ke smeared a pool of cement mortar on the ground, then moved a floor tile that was 1.2 meters long and wide, tried to lay it on the ground, and then waited for the prompt that the plug-in was turned on. Drunk. You don't pour the ground or soak the tiles before laying them. You can adjust the ratio of cement and sand and gravel at will. No level or level ruler is needed. It's all done manually. Awesome. C-level masters are different. The workers watching the scene were even more sarcastic when they saw Jin Ke's amateur operation. The specifications of floor tiles in the game world are not the same as those in the real world. Floor tiles in the real world are generally 0.8 meters by 0.8 meters in size, and smaller ones are 0.6 meters by 0.6 meters, and 0.3 meters by 0.3 meters. The floor tiles that Jin Ke is laying in the game world are 1.2 meters by 1.2 meters. Although the length and width are only 50% more than the large floor tiles in the real world, the difficulty of laying them is several times greater. Although this floor tile is much larger than the floor tiles in the real world, the firing process is different. The floor tiles in the game world are relatively light. The weight of a 1.2 meters by 1.2 meters floor tile is only 2/3 of the weight of a 0.8 meters by 0.8 meters floor tile in the real world. With Jin Ke's current strength of about 10 points, moving this floor tile is not a big problem. The more troublesome thing is how to lay the floor tiles horizontally and neatly. Jin Ke, who has no experience in this area in the real world, can only rely on his imagination to run around. The next step is to wait for the plug-in for laying floor tiles to be activated and start automatically. After the plug-in is activated, Jin Ke will sign a bricklaying contract with the foreman Xue'er. Chapter 165 Detailed Contract. What made Jin Ke a little depressed was that after more than 10 minutes of work, the plug-in had not made any movement. In addition to the commonly used plug-in icons in the main interface of the mobile phone, the other plug-in icons often changed. Jin Ke did not know which plug-in to activate to assist him in laying the floor tiles, so he could only wait for the plug-in to start automatically. If the plug-in really could not be activated, he would just give up the opportunity to earn contribution points this time, and there would be no loss. Just after Jin Ke had completely laid the entire floor tile, the plug-in prompt finally appeared above the field of vision. The plug-in for laying floor tiles is activated. Please select the level of laying floor tiles: E level, D level, C level, B level. Is there any between C and B level? Jin Ke asked with his mind. He knew that this plug-in could read his mind and knew what he was thinking. If it was said to be only slightly higher than C level, then don't be too much higher, be moderate in showing off, otherwise it will hurt your kidneys. Between C and B level has been selected. The plug-in showed another line of prompts. Sure enough, it knew what Jin Ke was thinking. This kid must give up. With this level, none of the tiles he lays will be up to standard. That's right, even if he practices for another 10 years, he may not be able to reach the D level. If he says such big words and gives up now, I would have banged my head against the wall if I were him. How dare you brag with this level? Is there no way to end it now? The crowd watching shook their heads and mocked the uneven, unstable, and crooked tiles that Jin Ke laid. I'll take this job. Let's sign the contract. Jin Ke walked proudly to the foreman Xue'er and proposed it to him. You dared to accept the order? Did I hear you right? You just want to save face. He was laughed at by so many of us just now, and he can't hold on any longer. If the main brain fails to meet the sea-level standard when laying the tiles, he won't get any contribution points. All the work will be in vain. He will have to redo the work later, which will be a joke. Who will pay for the rework? You have to make this clear. The onlookers continued to mock Jin Ke for forcing him to accept the order. Then we have to make it clear. After signing the contract, you have to lay all the floor tiles in the entire venue. If you ask a laborer to help, the laborer's salary will be deducted from your salary. If the floor tiles you lay do not meet the sea-level standard when the main brain detects them, you will not only not get any contribution points, but also have to pay for the rework and the cost of the tiles. One brick island worth 50 contribution points, and the rework fee is 10 points. Otherwise, your soul will collapse and die. After hearing what the onlooker said, the foreman Xue'er added a few conditions to Jin Ke. No problem, but it should also be written that the main brain's detection must be turned on all the time. Every time I lay a floor tile, I will let the main brain detect it. Those that pass the test will pass, so that no one else has the opportunity to tamper with it. If the floor tiles I lay reach the sea-level standard or above, you must settle your wages with me at 50 contribution points per tile. If you can't do it, or if you use tricks to stop me from laying floor tiles during the process, or if you instruct your subordinates to interfere with my laying of floor tiles, you will die. And after I finish laying, all wages must be settled within 10 minutes. Otherwise, Jin Ke also proposed this to Xue'er, listing more than a dozen items, excluding all factors that are not favorable to him. No problem. Xue'er calculated that Jin could not lay the sea-level floor tiles required by the main brain test, and he could also use this opportunity to blackmail Jin for a large amount of contribution points. At the same time, if he kept Jin here to lay floor tiles for a long time, he could take the opportunity to complete the task of monitoring Jin Ke's claws, digging insect sacks and catching them. This was a matter of killing two birds with one stone, so Xue'er certainly would not question the content of the contract. As long as Jin Ke fails to meet the sea-level requirements, all the promises made by Xue'er in the contract will be meaningless no matter how many clauses are written. In addition, Jin Ke will also compensate 60 contribution points for each floor tile. No matter how you look at it, this business is a sure win. The two parties drafted a very detailed contract according to the previously agreed conditions, and then both parties pressed their fingerprints to confirm the contract. Only then did Jin Ke start laying floor tiles. More and more workers gathered around. After hearing what was going on, they all came over to see Jin Ke's joke. The base construction department had only produced one sea-level worker before, and now he has retired. The highest level of others is only D level. This newcomer who doesn't know the height of the sky and the earth actually claims that he can lay floor tiles of quality as high as sea level. It's really too arrogant. After starting to lay floor tiles, Jin Ke naturally exited the game cabin, switched to the mobile phone operation mode, and completely handed over the work of laying floor tiles to the plugin. The plugin controlled Jin Ke's character to start laying floor tiles. This time, the expert will know whether it works or not with just one move. Jin Ke's character didn't use any auxiliary tools or measure, but the first floor tile that was officially laid was extremely accurate in terms of direction, level, and the mixing and stability of the cement mortar under the floor tile. After seeing this scene, the faces of the onlookers suddenly changed. Foreman Xue'er frowned. No way, this kid is really good, but no matter what, it is impossible to meet the requirements of the sea-level standard of the main brain detection, right? The sea-level requirements are extremely demanding, otherwise Count Chengyu, who is in his 40s and has been laying floor tiles professionally for more than 20 years, would not have been stuck at the peak level of D-level tile laying and unable to improve. The plugin did a very standardized and accurate job, but the speed was not fast. It took nearly 20 minutes to complete the laying of the first floor tile. The slow laying cannot be blamed on the plugin, but mainly because Jin Ke's architecture-related skills are too low. When Jin Ke's character started to lay the second floor tile, the main brain automatically started the detection program of the first floor tile he laid. Various rays with perspective functions scanned the first floor tile, and then analyzed and evaluated the data. The scene became silent, and Xue'er's face was also a little uncertain. If the floor tiles laid by Jin Ke really reached the sea level detected by the main brain, wouldn't he have to pay Jin Ke a high price of 50 contribution points per tile? The ground of the first floor of the entire number 23 dormitory area must be supplemented with new floor tiles, a total of about 1,200 tiles, adding up to 60,000 contribution points. The overall funding of the construction department for the reconstruction of the number 23 dormitory area this time is only 100,000 contribution points, of which nearly 2/3 will be taken by Jin Ke, according to the requirements of the base. The floor tiles of the number 23 dormitory area only need to reach the E level, and Cao Chengyu, who is at the D level, doesn't need to do anything, just send his disciples to lay them and it will be done. The original budget was only 7,200 contribution points, and the cost increased by more than 8 times. How could a new guy have a C level or higher level of floor tile laying? Impossible. He couldn't pass the C level assessment of the main brain. Xue'er strengthened his confidence, his face returned to calm, and he quietly waited for the main brain to give the final assessment result. Chapter 166 Hidden Deep. The inspection of floor tile laying is complete. Now let's start the evaluation. The main brain quickly completed the inspection and gave a rating. Everyone on the scene listened attentively to the main brain's rating results. Rated above C level, close to B level, the completion is very excellent. Hope to maintain it. The main brain finished the evaluation of the first floor tile. No way. Is it really above sea level? I really can't tell. Were you pretending before? I was wrong. I didn't expect you to be such a master. You are so hidden. I admire you. There is actually a master who has reached sea level among the newcomers. It's just that you are laying too slowly. At this speed, how long will it take to finish laying? After hearing the results of the main brain's inspection, the onlookers looked at Jin Ke with a different look than before. These people were low-level workers, and they didn't have any bad intentions. They were just a little upset when they heard Jin Ke boasting. Now that they found that Jin Ke was really capable, they stopped mocking him. Fuck. Xue'er cursed loudly, feeling that he had been fooled by Jin Ke. However, after signing the contract, he had no way to regret it, and could only watch Jin Ke continue to lay the next floor tile. Although Jin Ke's level of laying floor tiles was very high, Xue'er was very pleased that at this speed, he could only lay 3 floor tiles per hour, and 24 floor tiles in 8 hours of work a day. There were more than 1,200 floor tiles to be laid in the entire venue. Could this kid come here to work every day in the future? This job was hard, tiring and boring. Xue'er didn't believe that Jin Ke could keep going. Moreover, Xue'er's goal was to catch Jin Ke digging out insect sacs and claws in the act. As long as that goal was achieved, it didn't matter if he paid Jin Ke's contribution points in full to complete the contract. Luo Ye, Li Liang and others would just ask Jin Ke to pay it back in full afterwards. At that time, they would also give him extra rewards. This business was a sure win no matter how you looked at it. Let's all go. Someone has done the main work for us today. Everyone can take a break. We will still get the basic salary. Everyone will work hard tomorrow. Xue'er was now tasked with creating an opportunity for Jin Ke to dig out the insect sacs and claws from somewhere in the number 23 dormitory area and catch him in the act. The workers watching could see that the foreman Xue'er was not happy, since he announced that he would let everyone take a break and still get the basic salary. The workers certainly would not have any objections. They immediately dispersed from the construction site and invited everyone to play cards or do other entertainment activities together. Xue'er hid in a nearby monitoring room, monitoring Jin Ke's every move on the screen. Let him earn part of the wages. Let him be happy first. 24 bricks a day is only more than 1,000 contribution points. Not scary. In Xue'er's opinion, Luo Ye is very good at predicting things. He asked Li Liang to arrange for him to put a sign here to recruit laborers, saying that Jin Ke would definitely apply for the job and come to the construction site. As a result, Jin Ke really came. Then Jin Ke's digging of insect sacs and claws will definitely not be in vain. This kind of task is too easy to do. What Xue'er didn't expect was that Jin Ke didn't even think about digging corpse claws and insect sacs. Now he is more interested in earning contribution points. 60,000 contribution points. You can buy 2 tickets to the teleportation point. It's just that the speed of laying floor tiles is a bit slow. At this speed, it will take 2 months to complete more than 1,000 floor tiles. 2 hours passed. After laying the 6th floor tile, a line of prompts popped up on Jinke's mobile phone screen. You have awakened a skill, Architecture LV1. Is this possible? Jin Ke was pleasantly surprised when he saw the prompt on the screen of his mobile phone. He could awaken a skill just by laying floor tiles. This talent was really unique. After awakening the skill of architecture, Jinke's speed of laying floor tiles increased significantly. It took him 20 minutes to lay a floor tile before, but now it takes only 10 minutes. Brother Jin Ke, you were busy. Let me help you. A player wearing an engineering hat came over and greeted Jin Ke. Oh, I need contribution points urgently. I'd better do it by myself. I don't have anything to share with you even if you help me. Jin Ke looked up and recognized that this person was a newcomer in the same villa as him. His name was Chen Yang, and he was also an assassin. When the alien insects invaded the dormitory area number 23 last time, he took over after Zushu left the stage. Chen Yang was a construction worker in the real world. When he entered the game, he had the LV1 architecture skill, so he also found a job in the construction department in the game. I don't want contribution points. I'm helping you so that I can upgrade my architecture. Chen Yang didn't give in and helped Jin Ke with cement mortar and moving floor tiles. The contract between Jin Ke and Xue'er didn't stipulate that Jin Ke couldn't hire a laborer. If Chen Yang was willing to help without compensation, Jin Ke would certainly not refuse. With a laborer helping him, his efficiency in laying tiles would be much higher. It was just a little strange that Chen Yang, who was not familiar with him, wanted to help him for free. Could it be that he was also bribed by Luo Ye and came here deliberately to monitor or make trouble? Director Chen talked to me and said that you are a talented assassin and asked me to learn more combat skills from you. Chen Yang helped while talking to Jin Ke. Director Chen, you're too kind. No, you're really amazing. I admire you very much. Chen Yang spoke in an admiring tone to Jin Ke. Jin Ke soon ruled out the possibility that Chen Yang was Luo Ye's spy or troublemaker. The reason why he approached Jin Ke was entirely because of his mentor Chen Wei. With Chen Yang's help, Jin Ke's speed of laying floor tiles was further accelerated, and the laying time of one floor tile was reduced from 10 minutes to 7 minutes. After the plug-in laid 10 more floor tiles, the blue upgrade prompt popped up on the phone screen again. Your architecture skill has been upgraded to LV2. The reason for the rapid skill upgrade is that the quality of the floor tiles laid by the plugin is very high. The work is completed with high quality, and the corresponding skill upgrade experience is naturally more. After the architecture skill was upgraded to LV2, Jin Ke's speed of laying floor tiles increased again. Previously, it took 7 minutes to lay a floor tile, but now it can be laid in less than 4 minutes, and all the laid floor tiles have passed the main brain C-level standard test. Before lunch, Jin Ke's architecture skill was upgraded to LV3, and the speed of laying floor tiles was further accelerated. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Jin Ke's architecture skill was upgraded to LV4. Xue'er in the monitoring room was extremely shocked and dumbfounded. What kind of person is this? It's okay that he is so skilled in laying floor tiles, but it seems that he has improved his proficiency in the process, and he lays faster and faster. At this rate, more than 1,000 floor tiles don't need 50 days at all. They can be laid in 2 or 3 days. Chapter 167. The most dangerous thing is the human heart. Xue'er was shocked, but what annoyed him was that Jin Ke had no intention of digging, but was concentrating on laying the floor tiles. Could it be that Li Liang's information was wrong, and this Jin Ke really came here to apply for a job to earn contribution points? After taking out 60,000 contribution points, the subsequent projects would have to cut corners or deduct other workers' wages, otherwise the project budget would not be enough. He would definitely be scolded to death if he deducted the workers' wages, and if he alerted the top management of the base, he might even be punished. And he did not complete the task entrusted by Luo Ye, and Luo Ye would definitely not bother to protect him. This is miserable. What should I do? I can't regret signing the contract, otherwise I will die. I originally wanted to set a trap to trap Jin Ke, but I was trapped by the trap set by Jin Ke. Big trouble. The next day, Whelan Home Community, Building 16, first floor, restaurant. Jin Ke, are you free today? Let's go to the back mountain to hunt for energy points together. Liu Zu invited Jin Ke. Now they are allowed to go out to hunt for energy points. They went out to hunt for energy points yesterday. There are also security guards. Only by hunting energy points can the skill level be upgraded. So everyone in the villa made an appointment to go together today. Jin Ke didn't go yesterday, but the others still hoped that he could go with them, feeling that it would be safer to be with him. I'm earning contribution points at the base, so I'm not free for the time being. Jin Ke shook his head. This is a bit strange. We went to the back mountain to hunt for energy points, and the security department specially sent a very powerful security guard to protect us. I always felt that he had bad intentions, but I didn't see any abnormal behavior from him after a day of hunting. Instead, he took action several times when we were in danger. Zhu Shu chatted with Yu Gang beside him. I think it's a bit abnormal too. Yu Gang nodded. I think you're overthinking it. There are only a dozen of us left in this batch of new recruits. They must have treated the dozen of us who are still alive as treasures and tried their best to protect us, fearing that we might make mistakes outside. Niyu laughed. You are really self-indulgent. Yu Gang mocked Niyu. You still have to be more cautious. These people must have bad intentions. Jin Ke reminded everyone a few words. When I played this game before, I thought the darkness in the wild was very dangerous. Now I realize that no matter where you are, the most dangerous thing is always the human heart. Zhu Shu looked very emotional. Maybe you really think too much. Liu Zu disagreed with Zhu Shu's point of view. After dinner, the others continued to hunt energy points in the back mountain under the protection of the security guards. Jin continued his floor tile laying business, and Chen Yang also helped him. During this process, Jin felt that Chen Yang was very sincere, so he casually taught him some operating skills and experience of the assassin profession. 3 days later, Jin's architectural skills were upgraded to LV5. All 1,200 floor tiles on the first floor of the entire number 23 dormitory area were laid, and all were accepted by the main brain, exceeding the C level, close to the B level. Xue'er stayed in the monitoring room for 3 full days, not daring to blink, waiting for Jin to dig out the claws and insect sacs to catch them. But until Jin finished laying all the floor tiles and came to him to settle the bill, he did not dig up any of the ground. It seems that Li Liang's information is indeed wrong. Xue'er was cheated this time. Warning: the contract has been executed and Party B has completed all his promises. As Party A, you must pay Party B a total of 60,350 contribution points within 10 minutes as required by the contract. Otherwise you will die. Xue'er's watch sounded a reminder. The game world has its own rules. The contract is the most important and cannot be desecrated. Fuck. Xue'er cursed again, but still ran out of the monitoring room in a hurry. With an unhappy look on his face, he found Jin, who had just finished the work, and transferred 60,350 contribution points, which was nearly 2/3 of the engineering fee for this maintenance, into Jin's personal account. This time, Li Liang really killed him. I thought that the clever trick had trapped Jin here, but I didn't expect that the result was to lose both the wife and the army. No, I have to find Li Liang to clarify the responsibility, otherwise the mess will be impossible to clean up. After receiving the reward of 60,000 contribution points, Jin looked at his account balance of more than 61,000. So he transferred 1,000 contribution points to Chen Yang as a reward for his odd job. If it weren't for Chen Yang's help, it would take at least 5 days for Jin to complete the laying of more than 1,000 floor tiles. Chen Yang helped him shorten the time by nearly half. For Jin, who is eager to improve his strength, time is more important than anything else. Earning 1,000 contribution points in 3 days is not a small amount for a new student. Jin's balance is just over 61,000. After buying 2 tickets, he only has more than 1,000 left, so he gave Chen Yang 1,000, but Chen Yang refused Jin's transfer. Brother Jin, I have earned a lot by helping you and getting some of your tips on the operation skills of the assassin profession. I don't really need contribution points now. If you need these contribution points urgently, don't be polite to me. Chen Yang explained to Jin Ke, is that so? Are you free now? I'll take you to a place. Jin Ke thought about it and proposed to Chen Yang. Oh, okay. Chen Yang didn't quite understand where Jin Ke was taking him, but he happily agreed. Jin Ke took Chen Yang to the simulated park cabin of the Assassin Center. During the 3 days of laying bricks, Jin Ke knew that Chen Yang was still using the locked attack mode, so he suggested that he change to the full manual operation mode as soon as possible. Chen Yang also listened to his suggestion and practiced for 2 nights. After laying the floor tiles, Chen Yang refused to accept Jin Ke's contribution point transfer. Jin Ke decided to teach Chen Yang the 4-character formula, which was no longer useful to him. Even if Chen Yang did not awaken skills such as Kiss of Death, as an assassin, as long as he attacked from behind, his critical hit rate would be increased. The 4-character formula is very useful to every assassin player. After mastering it, if Chen Yang has a certain talent, he may be able to awaken a displacement skill similar to the death dance like Jin Ke, but that depends on his own luck. Anyway, after helping Chen Yang this time, Jin Ke no longer owes him a favor. Seeing that Jin Ke was going to teach the operating skills in person, Chen Yang couldn't help but be very happy, and he also worked very hard. After entering the Assassin Center's simulated park cabin, Jin Ke taught him one move at a time, and Chen Yang followed and learned one move at a time, and then practiced repeatedly. Okay, you have learned the 4 words. Next, you can practice with the virtual opponents in the park field. I have something else to do, so I'll leave first. An hour later, Jin Ke mentioned it to Chen Yang. Chen Yang had helped him for 3 days, so he paid it back. Thank you, brother Jin Ke. I'll treat you to a drink when I have time. Chen Yang was also very happy to learn the new skill of the assassin's displacement 4 words. Chapter 168 Recruit Training Center. The next day, early in the morning, Jin Ke rushed to the base's teleportation center. He wanted to enter the number 07263 Recruit Training Center, which was the training ground where the elite black corpses were kept, when the first game started, and strive to hunt the largest number of black corpses to maximize the benefits of the 60,000 contribution points. There were no staff in the base's teleportation center except for a few security personnel who were protecting the perimeter to prevent people from damaging the facilities. All facilities were fully automatic, and ticket purchase and teleportation were self-service. Of course, there were very detailed text descriptions next to each facility, and there were also electronic voice prompts to tell people how to use them. Jin Ke swiped his ID card to pay for the first ticket for 30,000 contribution points. 1 ticket was only enough to stay there for 2 hours. Fortunately, these contribution points were easy to come by, otherwise it would be really painful to spend them. After swiping the card to pay the fee, a round metal coin popped out from the coin spout. On one side of the metal coin was a very strange pattern, like some kind of monster, and on the other side was the digital number 07263. The teleportation cabin is a small compartment similar to a closed ATM. Put metal coins into the coin slot next to the cabin door, and the cabin door will open automatically. After the cabin door is opened, a warning sound comes from the cabin, reminding that the identity of the ticket buyer must be consistent with the identity of the teleporter, otherwise the ticket will be invalid. Only 1 person can be teleported at a time. If 2 people enter the teleportation cabin at the same time, the teleportation cabin will not start, and the ticket will be automatically invalidated after half a minute. In addition, there are various regulations such as the teleporter is not allowed to carry any weapons and equipment. Once weapons and equipment are detected on the body, the teleportation cabin will not start, and the ticket will be automatically invalidated after half a minute. It is obviously an overlord clause, but it seems that no one cares. Jin Ke certainly read the regulations carefully, checked his own conditions, and strictly abided by the regulations and walked into the teleportation cabin and stood there. After checking Jin Ke's identity, confirming that the person to be teleported is in place, and there is no violation, the cabin door automatically closes, and then starts the teleportation program. If you are playing games with your mobile phone, the screen of the mobile phone will suddenly become pitch black, and when it lights up, the character will be automatically teleported to the destination. Jin Ke played the game in the game cabin today. He was standing in the teleportation cabin and could clearly feel the thick black fog pouring in from all directions, wrapping his whole body. This black fog seemed to have a certain texture, as if his body was wrapped in silk clothes. Then his body suddenly felt weightless, and some messy images appeared in the darkness in front of him. It was probably all his hallucinations. Anyway, standing in the teleportation cabin in person and playing with a mobile phone were completely different feelings. After more than 10 seconds, the feeling of weightlessness disappeared. There was light around him, and the feeling of being wrapped in silk clothes gradually disappeared. When everything around him was completely lit up, Jin Ke found that he was still in the teleportation cabin. But when the door of the teleportation cabin was opened, the outside was no longer the teleportation center of the training base. It was the destination of Jin Ke's teleportation this time, the number 07263 Recruit Training Center. Welcome to the number 07263 Recruit Training Center. After leaving the teleportation cabin, please follow the green mark on the wall to go to the equipment room. An electronic sound sounded, and a green arrow mark appeared on the wall. After entering the equipment room, the electronic voice sounded again, asking Jin Ke to stand in the designated place and change into the designated equipment before entering the training ground. Jin Ke of course followed the voice prompts completely. When Jin Ke stood up, he felt a gentle force lifting him up and floating in the air. The main brain of the training center automatically detected Jin Ke's occupation, height, body shape and other parameters. A set of leather armor was sent to him by a mechanical arm. Jin Ke stretched his arms according to the requirements of the electronic prompt, and each set of leather armor was quickly put on Jin Ke's body by the mechanical arm in a very gentle way. After the equipment was completed, the electronic voice read out a section of precautions to Jin Ke, telling him that there were very precise positioning chips and special energy restrictions in Jin Ke's equipment and weapons. If he attacked other trainees during training, the weapons in his hands and the equipment on his body would automatically lock his body. At the same time, because Jin Ke was coming to the number 07263 Recruit Training Center for the first time, he had to sign a contract. The main content of the contract was the content just read by the electronic voice, and a disclaimer was made. If Jin Ke violated the contract, all the consequences would be borne by Jin Ke, and the training center would not give any compensation. It seems that the management of the training center is very strict and perfect, which fundamentally prevents trainees from attacking each other for grabbing monsters, which is of course a good thing for Jin Ke. You can grab monsters, but you are not allowed to attack each other. Who among the trainees of the same level can beat him in grabbing monsters? The electronic voice sounded again, reminding the trainees that if they are seriously injured and feel that they are in danger, they can press the emergency button on their wrists or chests to ask for help from the main brain. After receiving the signal, the main brain will automatically open the metal cover under the feet of the trainees, and a hole will appear to take the trainees to the safe area below the hunting area. There are various medical equipment in the safe area, which are expensive. If the trainees purchase additional medical services before being teleported, they can be treated in the medical equipment at this time. If no additional medical services are purchased, one can only sit there and recover on his own. Of course, this time will also be counted into the hunting time purchased by the trainee. If the trainee is seriously injured but does not call for help in time, resulting in death in the hunting area, the training center will not bear any responsibility. It will only help to collect the body and transmit the body back to where they came from. What made Jin Ke most depressed was that when he was changing into equipment, reading these terms and signing the contract, the 2-hour hunting time countdown continued. That is to say, at least 5 minutes of the time he exchanged for 30,000 contribution points was wasted on these things that did not make much sense. But there is no way around it. These procedures must be followed. I can only try my best to make up for the wasted time in the hunting process later. Finally, Jin Ke went through all the procedures, understood all the regulations, left the equipment room, and was about to be sent to the hunting area. The way the trainees were sent to the hunting area was also quite novel. They did not walk in by themselves, but were caught and lifted by a mechanical arm that extended from the ceiling. After the mechanical arm moved along the guide rail for a distance, It placed the trainees in an open space in the hunting area. The entire hunting area was as large as 4 football fields. This was the first transfer of the 07263 Recruit Training Center today. There were more than 20 trainees who entered the hunting area at the same time as Jin Ke, and were scattered by the mechanical alarm in various places in the hunting area. Chapter 169. A strange scene. After the trainees were deployed, the metal covers in many open spaces opened automatically, and then a total of 200 elite black corpses were deployed from the underground elite black corpse warehouse into the hunting area. After these elite black corpses came to the ground in the hunting area, they immediately opened their claws and screamed and rushed towards the trainees. The trainees who were teleported here all bought expensive tickets. In order to make the tickets worthwhile, they did not dare to waste time and immediately rushed towards the elite black corpses waving various standard weapons in their hands. The trainees and the elite black corpses were killed in a mass. I saw a shooter running while shooting arrows at a nearby elite black corpse with an automatic loading crossbow. His shooting speed was not fast. About 1 arrow every 5 seconds. After 2 arrows, he released a skill. A ball of energy was condensed into the shape of an arrow, flashed through the air, and shot at the chest of the elite black corpse at the speed of light, bursting out a dazzling energy light wave, shocking the elite black corpse back a few steps. Then he repeated the process, and 2 minutes later, he killed an elite black corpse in the field. An assassin quickly approached an elite black corpse. When the elite black corpse stretched out its claws to attack him, he suddenly used a displacement skill to go around the side of the elite black corpse and stabbed the elite black corpse in the neck. The elite black corpse grabbed him back, and the assassin turned around and fled. After a few seconds, the skill cooled down, and the assassin circled back and found an opportunity to stab the elite black corpse again, then turned around and fled again. It took about 2 minutes for the assassin to knock down the elite black corpse. He kept running and rushed to the next target. The assassin profession has a fast attack speed, but the assassin did not dare to chop the elite black corpse head on. If he was caught by the elite black corpse, it would be very painful. The cost of treatment in the safe zone is very expensive. After comprehensive evaluation, the tactic of fight and escape is still the most efficient. Occasionally, there are elite black corpses in the hunting ground that form a relatively dense group of corpses. The mechanical arm above the hunting ground will automatically extend down and disperse them one by one to avoid posing a greater threat to the trainees. The elite black corpses in the number 07263 Recruit Training Center are high-health melee monsters, which are more suitable for hunting energy points for high-damage professions such as shooters and mages. Assassins can also come here, but they are not suitable for tanks and warriors, so there are no tank and warrior trainees in the entire venue. Tank and warrior trainees usually choose recruit training centers with pure magic monsters. Magic monsters usually lock attacks. They are thick-skinned and can withstand for a long time wearing the standard anti-magic damage equipment of the training center. The health of magic monsters is not high, and their slower attack speed can also cause good output to magic items. Shooters, mages, assassins and other fragile professions are not suitable for training centers with more magic monsters. The lock attacks of magic monsters will give them a headache. The limited health and defense will soon be exhausted after being attacked, and there is no talk of sustained combat power. In the hunting ground where Jin Ke is, the most eye-catching trainee is a female mage holding a staff. She led 3 elite black corpses behind her. Just when the 3 elite black corpses were about to catch up with her, she suddenly turned around and used a freezing skill to freeze the 3 elite black corpses in place. Then she chanted a few spells, and a rain of ice arrows fell from the top of the 3 elite black corpses. After the freezing effect of the 3 elite black corpses was lifted, they continued to chase the mage. The mage ran, then froze and attacked again. After 3 minutes, the 3 elite black corpses were knocked to the ground, and the female mage harvested dozens of energy points. But at this time, the female mage's endurance had been consumed by nearly half. In order to avoid danger in the subsequent battles, the female mage sat on the ground to rest for a while. After the endurance value recovered to more than 2/3, she stood up and prepared for the second round of harvesting. But when the female mage stood up and looked around, she found that there was no elite black corpse standing in the field. In more than 8 minutes, All 20 trainees in the field stopped, because they found that the first batch of 200 elite black corpses released in the hunting ground had all fallen to the ground and turned into corpses, especially the scene just now. Some of the elite black corpses that were staggering and walking, as if no one was attacking them, suddenly fell to the ground and died one after another. What happened? Why did the black corpses die by themselves? The trainees were quite confused. They were busy hunting the elite black corpses just now and did not notice what happened in the field, especially some trainees who came to this hunting ground for the second or third time. According to their experience, it usually takes at least 20 minutes for 20 trainees to kill all 200 elite black corpses. You have to know that these trainees with a total of 120-130 basic attributes are relatively weak and have low skill levels. They cannot have skills with large-scale high attacks. The elite black corpses are hard to fight because of their thick skin and flesh, so their hunting efficiency is basically maintained at a low level. 2 hours of hunting time, excluding the few minutes of nagging when they were transferred, can only release 5 to 6 batches of elite black corpses. I really didn't expect that this time. The first batch of 200 elite black corpses were cleared in more than 8 minutes. After finding that the elite black corpses in the field had been cleared, the main brain triggered an automatic program and released the second batch of 200 elite black corpses into the field. The trainees had no time to think about what had just happened, and immediately engaged in a battle with the second batch of 200 elite black corpses. More than 7 minutes later, when a trainee was hunting an elite black corpse, he suddenly felt a light and shadow passing by him quickly. At that time, he did not think much about it. However, after he killed the elite black corpse in front of him, he found that the elite black corpses in a large area around him fell to the ground one after another without anyone attacking them. The weird scene just now happened again. What's going on? The trainee was stunned. Jin Ke, who completed the last death charge and killed the last of this batch of elite black corpses, stood beside the body of an elite black corpse in the corner of the field, pretending to be as confused as the other trainees and looking around. In the first round, Jin Ke killed about 100 of the 200 elite black corpses. In the second round, nearly 110 of the 200 elite black corpses died at his hands. After 2 rounds, excluding the cost of using skills, Jin Ke had hunted more than 3,700 energy points in total. Of course, all of these energy points had been invested in upgrading his skills. He didn't even have time to check what level these skills had been upgraded to or whether they had evolved successfully. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 170 Extreme Flow Operation. There were no staff members in the training center. Everything was fully automated and controlled by the center's main brain. After discovering that the elite black corpses in the field were cleared again, the automatic program was triggered and the third batch of 200 elite black corpses were released into the field. Although Jin Ke's efficiency in hunting energy points was many times higher than that of other trainees did not doubt anything or complain. Anyway, after killing a batch, the training center would release another batch, and they would not be affected. Therefore, the surprise was only a short moment for them. After the third round of elite black corpses were released into the field, all trainees were fully focused on their own battles. Those elite black corpses that were originally standing did not die by themselves, but were killed by the bleeding effect attached to Jin Ke's death cut skill. Jin Ke's death charge action was too fast. The trainees were busy killing monsters and it was difficult to notice Jin Ke's actions. They could not understand why what happened just now happened, and could only attribute it all to a strange incident. Fixed monster killing mode found. Plugin model established. Do you want to activate the plugin? Note: activating this plugin will cause severe discomfort, and will force you to exit the game cabin mode. Before the third round began, a plugin activation prompt appeared in front of Jin Ke's vision. Is this okay? Of course I'll activate it. Jin Ke confirmed the plugin, and then was forced to exit the game cabin by the plugin. He returned to the real-world room and picked up his phone to read it. In the instructions for using the game cabin, You must lie down safely on the bed to exit. I didn't expect that the plugin could force you to exit. At this moment, Jin's head was a little dizzy, and he didn't know if it was because of the forced exit. After activating the plugin, Jin's body will be temporarily controlled by the plugin. Jin really doesn't like this feeling when operating in an immersive environment. If he wants to exit, he will exit. It would be more comfortable to lie on the bed with his phone. The plugin has started the automatic pathfinding and monster killing mode. After concentrating on finding and piercing energy nodes for a long time, Jin's spirit has been a little exhausted. If the plugin is not activated again, Jin will inevitably make mistakes later. After watching the operation of the plugin on the phone screen for a while, Jin could not help but be stunned. Jin adapted a little in the first round. In order to avoid mistakes, he would stop for a while when he felt particularly nervous and couldn't hold on, or after killing a black corpse. The distance between the nearest black corpse and Jin exceeded the maximum distance of the death charge skill, so he had to delay and move for a while before continuing the subsequent hunting. In this way, in the first round, Jin took an average of more than 5 seconds to kill an elite black corpse. In more than 8 minutes, he hunted more than 100 elite black corpses without making a single mistake. In his opinion, this was already a very fast speed. In order to maximize the benefits of 30,000 contribution points, in the second round, Jin slightly increased the hunting speed. It took more than 7 minutes, about an average of a little more than 4 seconds to kill an elite black corpse. In more than 7 minutes, he completed the hunting of 110 elite black corpses without making a single mistake. This was almost his limit for Jin. If he speeded up, his spirit would definitely not be able to bear it. If he made a mistake in the middle, the cooling time of the death charge would not be reset, and he would be left staring blankly. Moreover, Jin had already realized that if he continued to kill at such a high intensity, his speed would become slower and slower, and his efficiency would become lower and lower. When people were under high mental tension, they would make more and more mistakes. However, the plugin was completely unaffected by these human factors. The plugin used the death charge to move and the death cut to attack. After hitting the energy node, the cooling time was reset. The high damage plus bleeding damage allowed it to kill 2 elite black corpses in 1 second on average. Because the movement speed was too fast, Jin could hardly see the shadow of his character on the entire mobile phone screen. He could only feel that he was behind an elite black corpse one moment and appeared behind another elite black corpse the next moment. On average, 2 elite black corpses were killed in 1 second, which means that the plugin stayed behind each elite black corpse for no more than half a second. This half a second was just enough for the character to raise the dagger in his hand and stab the energy node behind the elite black corpse. This also coincided with the time pattern of the energy node appearing behind the target within half a second after the end of the death assault. The stay time was less than 0.5 seconds, unless a trainee knew where Jin would appear in advance and deliberately stared at a certain place to observe carefully. Otherwise, this speed would be difficult for the human eye to capture. This is the real extreme flow operation. Seeing this scene, Jin couldn't help but blush. He thought he was a game master, but compared with the plugin, an average of more than 4 seconds and an average of half a second is simply the difference between a god and an ordinary person. Soon Jin discovered another fierce feature of the plugin. When Jin used the death charge to hunt elite black corpses, he often found that the distance of the next elite black corpse exceeded the maximum distance of his death charge skill after killing one, and he had to jog a few steps before continuing the death charge hunting. But this never happened with the plugin. The plugin seemed to have deduced the distribution and movement of the elite black corpses in the entire hunting ground, as well as the movement and hunting of other trainees. These seemingly chaotic Brownian motions, using some extremely advanced processor calculation algorithms, and predicted all the situations in the hunting ground. So every time it chooses a target to hunt, it is not just this target, but also takes into account the position and movement of other targets near this target, so that after the death charge skill is released, it has never stopped. Just like a snooker master, every time he hits a ball, he has already calculated the possible displacement of the other billiard balls on the table in the future, and thought about how to hit all the balls behind, and then he can calmly put each ball into the pocket one by one. This requires extremely terrifying computing power to do it. At least Jin can't do all this with his own brain power. Jin Ke decided that when he has time in the future, he will continue to strengthen his actual combat ability, especially the actual combat ability of the immersive gameplay of the game cabin, so that his combat ability and analytical computing ability can gradually approach the limit that the plugin can reach. It is definitely impossible to surpass it. The most terrible thing is that the plugin actually steals monsters. In the first and second rounds, Jin Ke didn't want to be too conspicuous. He avoided the targets attacked by other trainees and only quickly hunted those elite black corpses that no one killed, so other trainees can still hunt the elite black corpses they selected step by step. But the plugin is very domineering. It doesn't care whether these elite black corpses are hunted by anyone, as long as it is in its calculation, they are all its prey. Chapter 171 Compensation. When passing by the elite black corpse being hunted by other players, Jin Ke, controlled by the plugin, hid behind the very strong body of the elite black corpse like a shadow in a carefully calculated way, so that the players who were hunting the elite black corpse could not see Jin Ke at all. After a death cut, he quickly death rushed to evacuate, and then let the bleeding effect consume the elite black corpse to death in the next few seconds. When snatching monsters, the plugin even calculated the health of the elite black corpse, as well as the attack damage and attack frequency of other players, so that these players helped to harvest the health of the elite black corpse without knowing it. However, the last attack that consumed the elite black corpse was mostly caused by the bleeding effect of the plugin. 1.5 minutes later, more than 20 trainees on the field were still concentrating on dealing with their respective target elite black corpses. A shooter was about to use a skill attack on the elite black corpse that had taken away most of his health, but before he could use the skill, the elite black corpse suddenly fell to the ground and died, and the shooter did not get the energy point that escaped from the elite black corpse. An assassin stabbed an elite black corpse in the palm of his hand again. He continued his fight and escape tactics, but after he escaped this time, the elite black corpse behind him fell to the ground silently. A mage froze 2 elite black corpses in place, and then launched a nice arrow attack. When the freezing effect on the 2 elite black corpses was lifted, they fell to the ground earlier than she expected, and then not a single energy point escaped. Then, in the distance, the last group of more than a dozen elite black corpses that had not been forcibly separated by the mechanical arm in the air suddenly exploded in a chain, and then fell to the ground together. The other trainees didn't understand why the group of elite black corpses exploded in a chain, but Jin Ke knew very well that this was also the work of the plugin, because Jin Ke had a skill that evolved, but he didn't know which skill had evolved. Just now, when he was nervously killing monsters, Jin Ke used the immersive operation mode of the game cabin. The upgrade prompt information was automatically faded in his vision. He concentrated on stabbing the energy nodes behind each elite black corpse. He had no time and energy to pay attention to which skill had evolved. However, Jin Ke knew that one of the 2 skills, Soul Gathering and Kiss of Death, must have evolved, because the icons of Death Rush and Death Cut did not change at all, and the current energy points were not enough to upgrade these 2 skills to LV16. Although he has exited the immersive operation of the energy cabin, the plugin is controlling his character, and Jin Ke has no way to check the game log. Once he actively operates, the plugin will stop. This kind of monster-killing plugin is automatically activated. If it stops, I don't know when it will start next time. Since I know that the skill has evolved, I am not in a hurry to avoid wasting the precious time of exchanging 30,000 contribution points. It is better to save this surprise until after today's hunting is over. In the third round, within 1.5 minutes, the plugin helped Jin Ke harvest 191 elite black corpses. Excluding the cost of skills, he got more than 3,400 energy points in total. This was almost the sum of Jin Ke's energy points in the first 2 rounds, but it took only 1/10 of the time. Of the remaining 19 trainees, only 9 were lucky enough to harvest energy points in this 1.5 minute, while the other 10 stood there with all kinds of doubts and curses. After discovering that the elite black corpses in the field had been cleared out again, the automatic program of the recruit training center was triggered, and the fourth batch of 200 elite black corpses were released into the field. At the end of the first hour, excluding the 5 minutes of wasted time in the previous training center and the time Jin spent on his own operation in the first 2 rounds, the plugin forced the training center's main brain to release a total of 25 batches, totaling 5,000 elite black corpses into the field. Of these 5,000 elite black corpses, 4,371 were hunted by Jin Ke, excluding the cost of using skills. A total of more than 78,000 energy points were harvested. With 8 minutes left in the second hour, the plugin forced the training center mastermind to release a total of 31 batches, totaling 6,183 elite black corpses to the venue. A total of 5,875 of these 6,183 elite black corpses were hunted by Jin Ke, excluding the cost of using skills. A total of more than 105,000 energy points were harvested. After 2 hours, Jin Ke hunted a total of more than 184,000 energy points. The reason for the remaining 8 minutes is because the number 07263 recruit training center has more than 10,000. Specifically, the inventory of 11,183 elite black corpses has been exhausted, and there are no more elite black corpses to replenish. The 11,000 plus elite black corpses could have been hunted down in 4 rounds, which would take 8 hours to complete. Normally, there would still be some left after the training center was opened for 8 hours. At night, these elite black corpses would be moved to the wild, allowing the darkness of the night to repair and revive the damaged bodies of these elite black corpses, and then open again the next day for trainees to hunt energy points. But today, because of the encounter with Jin Ke, a super cheater, all the elite black corpses were hunted down in the first round of the 07263 recruit training center in the morning, and they didn't even make it through the first round, so the next 3 rounds didn't have to be opened. What the hell? I only killed 12 in 2 hours. Fuck. I worked for 2 hours and only killed 7. I only killed 21. How come these elite black corpses died by themselves? Some even exploded. Protest. Give me back the money. What the hell? Yeah, I spent a lot of money to come here to hunt energy points, and I only hunted more than 100 points in total. Are you kidding me? If you don't give me an explanation, I will never come here again. The trainees protested. The plugin was hidden too well and the speed was too fast. In nearly 2 hours, the trainees didn't see what was going on. The heroes of this game have hunted down all the black corpses in stock in advance. In order to thank the heroes for their support and love for the number 07263 recruit training center and to compensate you for the extra hunting time, the number 07263 recruit training center will release 10 mutant black corpses with restricted movements for the trainees to hunt. These 10 mutant black corpses have not appeared in the hunting grounds for 78 days. There is a high probability that some of them have energy cores in their bodies. Please enjoy them. Note: once a player begins to dissect a mutant black corpse, other players are not allowed to interfere. The dissection of a mutant black corpse requires the corresponding skills to reach LV3. Trainees who have not reached LV3 dissection skills must not attack the corpse. Otherwise they will be forcibly restrained by the equipment on their bodies and be fined the same value as 1,000 energy cores. Chapter 172 Important Struggle. The mastermind of the recruit training center was completely unaware of the trainees shouting and cursing. Instead, after completing all the hunts and exhausting the inventory, it released 10 mutant black corpses with their hands and feet chained by alloy chains from underground as a reward for the trainees to clear the inventory in advance. Under normal circumstances, the inventory of the recruit training center is sufficient. Even if the inventory is emptied, it often happens in the last match in the afternoon. If the inventory is emptied in advance, the recruit training center will not refund the money. The method used is to release 10 mutant black corpses as compensation. The longer these mutant black corpses are raised in the training center, the greater the probability of generating energy cores in their bodies. This batch of mutant black corpses has obviously not been hunted for more than 2 months. After the mastermind announced it, the 10 mutant black corpses were released in the center of the venue, about 3 meters apart. The players who were originally yelling at the main brain no longer cared about yelling at this time, and rushed to the 10 mutant black corpses with their hands and feet locked in the center of the venue, releasing various skills to attack the mutant black corpses, hoping to grab this round of rich rewards. Jin Ke originally thought that the plugin would stop at this time and it would be his turn to take action, but he didn't expect that the plugin had already controlled his character to start snatching and killing the mutant black corpses. In this case, he should not interfere, and the plugin will definitely help him maximize his interests. The trainees cannot attack each other, but they can snatch monsters. At the beginning, the trainees were basically outputting in pairs. But when the mutant black corpses started to roar wildly and felt that their health was about to bottom out, the scene became a little chaotic. 2 trainees tried to snatch the attack targets of other trainees, and then more trainees began to run around. In the chaos, the plugin's precise calculations and operations helped Jin Ke harvest a total of 8 mutant black corpses escaped black mist. About 500 points each, for a total of more than 4,000 points. Because it was a melee, no one noticed that the last blows of the 8 mutant black corpses were completed by Jin Ke, or they were exhausted by the bleeding effect of Jin Ke's death cut. The reason why no one noticed this was that after killing the mutant black corpses, the trainees immediately entered the next round of more important competition. Dissect the mutant black corpses. Seize the energy core that may appear. Dissecting the mutant black corpses requires LV3 dissection skills. Among the 20 trainees, only 5 have LV3 or above dissection skills. Jin Ke is one of the 5, and his dissection skills have reached LV4. Do I need to operate it myself at this time? Before Jin Ke operated, the plugin had already controlled Jin Ke's character to pounce directly on one of the mutant black corpses and quickly began the dissection work. The other 4 players with LV3 and above dissection skills also each selected a mutant black corpse to dissect. When the 5 players with LV3 dissection skills were dissecting, the other 15 players could only watch helplessly, regretting that they did not awaken and train dissection skills, and could only watch others dig treasures at this time. If you force yourself to do it, you will be bound and fined. 3 minutes later, Jin Ke's plugin finished the autopsy of the mutant black corpse. Under the operation of the plugin, Jin Ke's character dug out several black bones and an energy core from the body of the mutant black corpse. The plugin detected that the energy core contained 5,963 energy points. Energy points are the universal currency in the game world. No matter which base or shelter you go to, you can circulate and use them. Of course, most bases and shelters will exchange the energy cores hunted by their employees with their own circulating currency. In Jin Ke's base, the exchange rate between energy cores and contribution points is 1 to 10, that is, 5963 energy points can be exchanged for 59,630 contribution points. But this exchange is obviously not cost-effective, just like going to a small country for a trip and exchanging gold for the circulating banknotes of that small country. It is easy to exchange it, but it is difficult to exchange it back at the original price. The trainees watching the scene saw Jin Ke dissecting out an energy core, and they couldn't help but let out various exclamations and sighs. It seems that the probability of these mutant black corpses producing energy cores is very high. The first corpse to be dissected produced an energy core. After the plugin dissected the first mutant black corpse, it stood still. Jin quickly controlled the character to pounce on another mutant black corpse that had not been dissected. The other 4 players also finished the first round of dissection and started the second round of dissection, but they did not dig out energy cores in the first round of dissection except for black bones. The elite black corpse inventory of the training center was emptied, and the next 3 games could not be opened. This game ended in 2 hours. But before the players had completed all the dissection tasks of the mutant black corpses, the training center did not force them to leave the hunting ground. A few minutes later, the second round of dissections was completed one after another. Jin Ke only dissected out a few black bones, and nothing else. The other 4 players also got nothing except black bones. 10 mutant black corpses only produced 1 energy core, which Jin Ke obtained in the first round of dissection. To be precise, it was obtained by the external plugin. Could it be that they detected first and then dissected? How could it be so coincidental? 1 out of 10 was selected, and it went straight to the mutant black corpse. Jin Ke expressed deep doubts about this. Of course, he was more happy. With a plug-in in hand, the world is mine, ha 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 ha. After all the dissections were completed, Jin Ke took the spoils and other trainees away from the hunting ground by the mechanical arm, but when he was teleported back, Jin Ke received bad news. All his spoils could not be taken away, and could only be forcibly recovered by the recruit training center, and the recruit training center used training tokens for forcible recovery. 1 energy core and several black bones were exchanged for a total of 323 training tokens, which were directly deposited into Jin Ke's unique identity account in the game world. The watch. Training tokens can be used to purchase tickets for all recruit training centers at any base or shelter's teleportation center. Just point the watch face toward the ticket purchase scanning port to use it. Since it was a mandatory overlord clause, Jin Ke certainly had no way to resist and had to redeem it. After the redemption, there were indeed 323 more training tokens in Jin Ke's watch account. Then, according to the guidance of the training center's main brain, Jin Ke first went to the equipment room to put down the standard weapons, and the mechanical arm stripped the standard equipment on his body, and then returned to the teleportation cabin, which was where he was teleported from at the beginning, and was teleported back along the same route. Chapter 173 Death Mark. After teleporting back to the base, Jin Ke immediately tried to buy a ticket to the number 07263 Recruit Training Center, which only required 100 training tokens. This seemed to mean that 100 training tokens could be converted into 30,000 base contribution points. Training tokens cannot be sold, so it is impossible to exchange them for base contribution points. But Jin Ke's current need for base contribution points is to teleport to the recruit training center, so there is nothing to regret. Moreover, even if the energy core dissected at the training center is brought back, once it is discovered by the base, it will be forced to be exchanged for contribution points or directly confiscated. If the base forces the exchange of contribution points, it can only be exchanged for about 60,000, but at the recruit training center, it was exchanged for 323 training tokens, which is worth nearly 100,000 contribution points. So, this wave is not a loss. Moreover, this training token has no limit on the time and place of use, and can be used to purchase tickets for any training center. This means, Jin Ke spent the money for a ticket this time, and killed all the stocks of the number 07263 Recruit Training Center in one game, hunting for 188,000 energy points. Then, he earned 2 more tickets. He cried with laughter. Jin Ke checked the ticket purchase device at the teleportation center. There are many recruit training centers that only keep elite black corpses. If he can earn 2 tickets and hundreds of thousands of energy points every time he goes there, he can quickly upgrade all his skills to the maximum level, if there is a maximum level. But Jin quickly gave up this idea, because when he tried to buy a ticket for another recruit training center that kept elite black corpses, the ticket purchase device reminded him that the energy points he had hunted in the recruit training center this month had exceeded the upper limit. If he wanted to buy a ticket to hunt again, he would have to wait at least a month. According to the ticket purchase rules displayed on the screen, the role identity is unique. The identity will be checked when entering the teleportation. If the identity of the ticket purchaser and the teleporter is different, the teleportation will be prohibited. In addition, the real identity of the teleporter will be scanned and verified every time the teleportation is carried out. Jin can't avoid this verification by asking others to buy tickets for him. Once a month is once a month. It doesn't cost money anyway. Next month, maybe his strength will improve by leaps and bounds, and he won't need to go to the training center where the elite black corpses are kept anymore. The tokens can be used to exchange for training centers where higher level monsters are located. For example, the kind of place where 300 training tokens can be exchanged for a ticket. After completing today's madness, Jin Ke has an important thing to do. A big surprise is waiting for him. Jin Ke opened and checked the game log. When hunting energy points, Jin Ke had no energy to check the upgrade of skills. He directly poured the energy points he got into the skill upgrade, as long as they didn't overflow and waste. After receiving the energy points from killing the elite black corpses in the first round, Jin Ke immediately added them to the skill of soul gathering. Unfortunately, after checking the records in the log, there was no prompt for skill evolution after soul gathering reached LV8. I have bad luck sometimes. Jin Ke was a little disappointed. Death Arc and Death Dance successfully evolved at LV8, which gave him an illusion that all his skills would evolve after reaching LV8, but reality poured cold water on him. It seems that the only skill that can be evolved is the Kiss of Death. The group self-explosion of the elite black corpses in the hunting ground should be caused by the evolved skill of the Kiss of Death, right? Jin Ke set it up before hunting. When the soul gathering technique is upgraded to LV8, the energy points will be automatically transferred to the upgrade of the Kiss of Death skill. After the Kiss of Death skill reaches LV8, there is indeed a prompt of skill evolution in the system log. The name of the new skill is Mark of Death. The LV8 Kiss of Death has evolved into the LV8 Mark of Death. Death Mark. Attacks launched from behind the enemy are guaranteed to be critical hits, and can be stacked with critical hits from hitting energy nodes. For each level of Death Mark increased, the critical hit effect increases by 5%. All attacks launched from the front, except for hitting energy nodes, cannot produce critical hits. Every time a wild monster, a player, or an NPC is killed, a layer of Death Mark will be stacked. A total of 15 layers can be stacked, and each layer of Death Mark stacked will increase the attack speed by 5% and the attack damage by 5%. After the Death Mark has stacked 15 layers, it will no longer increase, but all marks can be released at once to attack a single target or multiple targets. The mark is a locked attack, with a maximum attack distance of 10 meters. Each mark will cause explosion damage of 5 times the skill level and a radius of 5 meters. The mark explosion damage effect can be stacked, but kills caused by the mark explosion damage will not produce new marks. Note: if there is no kill within 180 seconds, the Death Mark will automatically disappear by one layer until it disappears completely. Cooling time: none. Energy consumption: releasing 15 marks will consume 30 energy points, and no energy points will be consumed if not released. According to the log records, the following operations were all performed automatically by the plugin. After the Kiss of Death skill was upgraded to LV8 and evolved into the Mark of Death, the plugin first added the remaining energy points to the Death Charge, and then added them to the upgraded Mark of Death, and upgraded both skills to LV14 in one go. Jin Ke analyzed 3 reasons why the plugin upgraded the Death Charge skill first. First, it wanted the Death Charge to evolve a second time. Second, Death Charge is a displacement skill and is the easiest skill to evolve. Third, for every level of Death Charge, the maximum displacement increases by half a meter. Upgrading to LV14, Death Charge allows Jin Ke to reach a displacement of 17 meters after each skill release. Think about a battle, where the two sides are 7 meters apart, and the next moment, Jin Ke appears behind the opponent and gives him a super-powered critical hit. The opponent must be saying MMP in his mind. Another example is that the opponent is at low health and flees in a panic. He originally thought that he had escaped from Jin Ke's attack range, or even escaped 7 meters away, but the next moment, Jin Ke appears behind him and kills him with one blow. Another example is that if Jin Ke is not careful in operation and is beaten to low health, the opponent originally thought that he had caught up with him, but the next moment Jin Ke appears 7 meters away, and even directly passes through a wall, a small hill, and then disappears. The opponent must be saying MMP in his mind again. For an assassin, displacement skills are crucial. Powerful displacement skills and longer displacement distances mean that it is easier to chase and kill low health enemies, and it is also easier to save your life when you are at low health. Chapter 174, Dark Cave in the Mountain. After the Death Charge is upgraded to LV14, it is extremely energy consuming to upgrade to LV15, and it is impossible to upgrade to LV16 in a short time. It is estimated that in order to have a stronger combat power in a short time, the plugin added all the remaining energy points to the Death Mark, and upgraded the Death Mark to LV14. This idea is basically the same as Jin Ke's own consideration. After the death mark is upgraded to LV14, the explosion damage caused by each mark will reach 70 points. When encountering a group of zombies, under ideal conditions, more than 15 elite black zombies gather together. Jin Ke throws 15 marks over, and each elite black zombie suffers 70 points of explosion damage. The explosion of 15 elite black zombies will add up to 1050 points of damage, and then all the zombies within a radius of 5 meters from the explosion target will be blown to pieces. This effect is unimaginable. If a player happens to be in the zombie group, and the total HP and protection are less than 1050, he will die without a complete corpse. However, the premise of all this is that 15 marks must be accumulated first to form explosive damage. When facing such a super strong individual as Luo Ye, Jin Ke estimated that he was unlikely to have the opportunity to obtain 15 marks in advance. Therefore, he had to further improve his strength. Luo Ye became a sword hanging over Jin Ke's head, forcing him to do everything he could to tap his potential and gain greater strength in a short period of time. After leaving the transmission center, Jin Ke went to the equipment department and continued to trim, mend and weld the worn-out equipment while reciting runes, working and practicing at the same time. After dinner, around 6:30, dormitory area 23 was undergoing maintenance, and the 13 new students from Building 02 of dormitory area 23 were arranged in Building 10 of dormitory area 24. Jin Ke first went to hunt energy points with high intensity, then cut, sew, mend and weld worn-out equipment, and recite runes. The character was very tired both physically and mentally. After entering the new area of dormitory number 24 and returning to the new dormitory where the character was, Jin Ke let the character go to sleep to rest and recover his strength. Of course, the Xiaomi phone was not turned off, and there was no need to turn it off. The alarm function was always turned on. Jin Ke in the real world changed Xue'er's diaper and fed her milk. Xue'er fell asleep around 7 o'clock in the evening. Jin Ke in the real world also felt very tired today. After Xue'er fell asleep, he also lay down on the bed and fell asleep. Around 10 o'clock in the evening, Jin Ke woke up. A few hours of sleep swept away his physical and mental fatigue. After waking up, of course, he had to find something to do. Taking the Xiaomi phone and turning on the screen, Jin Ke found that his character in the game had also woken up and was lying on the bed in a daze. After confirming that the door was locked, the curtains were closed, and Xue'er was sleeping soundly in the crib, Jin Ke summoned the game cabin with his mobile phone, lay down in the game cabin and entered the game world. This feeling was very wonderful, and it was a completely different experience from playing games with a mobile phone. Just like Jin Ke was sitting on the bed in the dormitory of the game world, leaning on the headboard beside the bed, he even heard the faint sound of flowing water, an extremely subtle sound of flowing water, so subtle that it was impossible to hear this sound if he was playing games with a mobile phone. Wait. The sound of flowing water? What's the sound of flowing water? Jin Ke put his ear against the wall, and this time the sound of flowing water became clearer, and it felt like it was not far away from the wall. Should it be a dark hole formed naturally in the mountain? Does the rainwater on the top of the mountain slowly flow from these dark holes into the depths of the ground? Suddenly Jin Ke thought of something. Because of the layout of the buildings, Building 10 of dormitory area number 24 and Building 02 of dormitory area number 23 are basically next to each other. If there is a mountain cave behind the dormitory wall, maybe you can go around the mountain cave behind the wall to the vicinity of the buried corpse claws and insect sacks in dormitory area number 02, and then dig a hole from the mountain to the floor under the stairs of the first floor lobby of dormitory area number 02, and dig the corpse claws and insect sacks back without anyone noticing. As for how to enter the mountain cave behind without destroying the wall, this is too simple. Death charge. The LV-14 death charge allows Jin Ke to cross a distance of 7 meters each time. Of course, before the charge, Jin Ke first spent an energy point to use the plug-in to detect the surrounding terrain. There is indeed an underground dark hole 4 or 5 meters behind the wall. The water flow inside is not very large. The dark hole is about 2 meters wide, which is enough for Jin Ke to charge safely. With a detection range of 50 meters, Jin Ke even detected the layout of Building O2 of dormitory area number 23 next to him. As expected, the place where the corpse claws were buried was only about 10 meters away from where Jin's new dormitory was located. If the dark cave in the mountain also passed by there, Jin might not need to dig too much soil to dig out the corpse claws. Jin bought a base-certified alien insect claw at the exchange office a few days ago. The energy-infused alien insect claws made digging soil very easy, just like cutting tofu with a kitchen knife. Even if the distance was several meters, it would take at most 10 minutes to dig through. Even if it didn't work, he was free anyway, so he might as well rush in and have some fun. After making a plan, Jin found a suitable place to rush in by the wall of the dormitory. After imagining that he was going to rush forward, the next moment Jin passed through the 4 or 5 meter thick wall in the mountain, and came to the dark cave in the mountain. He detected, if I had this skill in the real world, I could go on an extreme adventure. Jin felt a sense of accomplishment after passing through the wall. It's a pity that in the real world, I only strengthened my body muscles and strength, but didn't bring these skills to the real world. Otherwise, I could rob a bank with this skill. Jin complained a few more times. With the faint light emitted by the alien insect claws in his hand after they were filled with energy, Jin looked around. Just as he imagined, this was indeed a dark cave in the mountain. There was a thin layer of water flowing down the dark cave under his feet. It should be rainwater from the top of the mountain. The dark cave was relatively flat when passing through this section, with an inclination of only about 10 degrees. The walls of the dark cave were very smooth, which should have been washed out when the amount of water in the rainstorm was relatively large. After seeing everything around him clearly, Jin walked towards the direction of Building O2 of Dormitory Area 23, ready to find a place closest to the corpse claws to dig. After walking a few steps, Jin's foot suddenly slipped and he fell to the ground unexpectedly. Only then did he notice that there was a slope of about 45 degrees next to where he fell, but by the time he noticed it, it was too late. He had already fallen into the slope and slid rapidly down along the smooth cave wall. Chapter 175, Sure win. Fuck. Jin cursed. Don't fall into the underground water. If you want to go back to the base, you won't be able to go back. In a very urgent situation, Jin quickly stabbed the wall of the cave below with the claws of the alien worm infection in his hand. After several consecutive stabbings, he finally stabbed the claws of the alien worm infection into a solid cave wall, and the whole person was stuck and stopped sliding down. Too dangerous. Extreme adventure is really not something that ordinary people can play. Jin was shocked and broke out in a cold sweat. With the faint light from the claws of the alien worm infection, Jin looked around and found that he was a little worried. The slope became gentler less than 2 meters below his feet, and a large open space appeared. There was only a small amount of water on the open space. It was not a very dangerous place as imagined. After confirming that there was no danger below, Jin pulled out the claws of the alien worm from the cave wall and slid down slowly. After standing at the bottom of the slope, he looked around again. This is an underground space, where several winding underground caves converge, forming a large and relatively flat area. The crisscrossing small ditches under the feet all flow in the same direction. It is estimated that if we follow the water flow further, we will really reach the underground water layer. When Jin was about to climb back the same way, he heard a gulp sound, as if there was something alive nearby. He subconsciously used another energy point to detect the nearby 50-meter range, but this time he made an unexpected discovery. Just a few dozen meters away from him, somewhere where this underground space extended, there was a rectangular area of about 100 square meters. It felt like a basement or something like that. This rectangular area appeared alone at the edge of the detection screen, and there were no other rooms next to it. From where Jin was, he could walk there along the underground cave, about 30 to 40 meters away. By zooming in on the detection screen, it can be seen that the stone wall at the nearest connection between the underground cave space and this rectangular area is about 6 meters, just enough for Jin to complete the Death Rush skill. How could there be such a lonely basement under the ground more than 10 meters deep in the base? It can't be the kind of place that requires high authority to enter, right? Will it be filled with all kinds of treasures? For example, high-quality equipment, high-quality potions and the like. Jin's heart was pounding. If it wasn't for digging for corpse claws, he wouldn't have run into this underground waterway. If he hadn't just fallen into this underground space, and then there was a gulp nearby, which made him subconsciously detect it, it would be difficult for him to find this hidden basement dozens of meters away. God's will. Since I found it, I must go in and explore it. I just don't know if there are cameras installed inside. It would be bad if they were recorded. Jin carefully approached the direction of the rectangular space along the underground dark cave waterway. After more than 10 minutes, he came to the place closest to the rectangular space, and then spent another energy point to detect the rectangular space more carefully. This underground image is somewhat similar to a perspective view, and you can even see the direction of the ventilation pipes and circuits clearly. The direction of the circuit can be seen clearly because there is electricity passing through the circuit, which is more prominent than other objects in the detection map. After zooming in and observing the detected image and analyzing the circuit of the basement, Jin found that the circuit only provided lighting and powered the electronic door lock and something similar to a refrigerator in the basement. No monitoring equipment was found on the circuit, and most importantly, there was no one guarding this basement. After confirming that he would not encounter guards and would not be recorded by the camera, Jin came to the cave wall closest to the basement and activated the death charge wall penetrating skill. The next moment, he appeared in the rectangular space previously detected. A basement. The sensor light in the basement automatically lit up. The brightness was not high, but it was enough for Jin to see everything in the basement clearly. There were several large shelves in the basement, with many boxes placed on the shelves. There was something like a refrigerator against the wall. He walked over and opened the door to look inside. Jin couldn't help but be stunned. There were more than 20 insect cysts neatly arranged on several floors. The insect cysts in the freezer were obviously twice as large as the ones Jin had dissected from Xiaobo's body before, and they looked much fuller. How could there be more than 20 alien insect cysts here? Although he didn't know why there were more than 20 insect cysts here, Jin was extremely surprised after seeing these 20 or so insect cysts. What did Zhang Shidao say to him last time? He said that Liu Junming needed at least a dozen insect cysts to ensure that he could make the soul-splitting agent 100%. These 20 or so insect cysts must be a sure thing, right? Jin reached out and touched the inside of the cabinet and found that the temperature inside was not low, about the same as the temperature outside. It seemed that this was not a freezer, but just an ordinary storage cabinet. These insect cysts could be stored at room temperature. Jin hugged the storage cabinet and tried to use the death charge skill to teleport the storage cabinet out. Unfortunately, he failed, and he was the only one who passed through the wall in the mountain. Jin had to wait until the death charge cooled down before returning to the underground warehouse. Since he couldn't steal the lockers together, he could only transport the cysts out one by one. Jin held a cyst in one hand and used death charge again. The man passed through the wall, but the cysts didn't follow. Oh my god. What's the principle? In this case, death charge can't be used to steal things at all. Jin couldn't help but feel depressed. More than 20 cysts were too important to him. Stealing them meant that he could successfully make a soul-splitting potion. But if death charge couldn't take the cysts with him, he wouldn't be able to steal them. Go out through other passages? There's no need to think about it. He would definitely be caught on the spot after going out. What should he do? While waiting for death charge to cool down, Jin tried to calm himself down and carefully thought about the dilemma he was facing. Could it be that he had to dig a hole to transport it back and forth? Digging a hole would definitely be discovered, and if the cysts couldn't follow the charge, he would have to dig another hole to get back to the dormitory. Things like elephant worm cysts are high-grade materials. If more than 20 of them were stolen at one time, the owner of the worm cysts or the base would definitely conduct a strict investigation. If they find out that Jin stole them through the holes they dug, they would definitely lock him up in the life and death stake again. If he is locked up in the life and death stake again, he will not have the good luck he had last time. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.